Hello and welcome to the Con Couple. I'm Richard.
As I've told you, I've experienced literally every emotion it's possible for a human to experience this week. Like all of them. Every single one.
It's been a week.
It's been a week.
What's your name?
Caroline.
And we go to a frankly baffling number of cons every year.
We do. And hoping we don't have to cut down now.
Yeah. So there's been some life stuff going on this
we're
week.
gonna have to kind of we normally talk about stuff in order. We might have to do that. We might just have to go back until Monday and go along. And some of this isn't con stuff, but we did talk about it. We don't want to hijack the episode since we are a con review episode, but there was just no way to review this convention without talking about other stuff that has happened.
Yeah.
That we did not think was going to happen. I don't think we even thought had a remote possibility of happening last week.
Yeah, we did not know this was coming.
Nope.
Yeah, our life has been lifing this week, basically, is the best way to describe it.
Yeah. So the stuff we did know that was going to happen, and I can talk about this pretty much immediately, is, as I mentioned last week, it was finals.
Yep.
That was hell.
Yep, your brain was doing interesting things this week, because again, you had a lot of projects to assess and all of that kind of stuff, because again, for any new listeners, she is a college professor.
Yep.
So you had final grades ready to submit on Wednesday night, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, Thursday night.
Thursday night, after burning your brain through doing 15 other things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I did that. Keep in mind that because of AI and everything else, I've done AI proof all my assignments, and I'm dealing with this online class that I'm just going to say it's more difficult because I don't want to go into any more details there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just I meet with a lot of students individually one-on-one, so I was doing that for
4 straight days.
4 straight days, basically, and keep in mind that this week, because I was just very on top of trying to get stuff done, I was effectively working from 8 when I got into the office to 5 when I was ending each day, which I know is, I'm not saying that other people don't necessarily have that, or don't do that, but that level of work is very just intense because you're interacting with people. You have students in all variety of nervous to cocky to mad to legitimately bad about stuff to not mad at all about stuff to crying. Crying happened a lot at the end of the semester on every front, to multiple cheating scandals, and you're just dealing with all of that on a constant basis, and you have to maintain your own emotions such that when a student walks into your office, you're not taking out whatever the previous student did on them. So it's very emotionally draining, on top of trying to assess many things quickly. It leads to obviously a lot of decision fatigue quickly. And then on Thursday night, when I was finally done all that and I was finally admitted to submit grades, our learning management system fell victim to a massive cyber attack, which thankfully, since I was done with grading, I did find mostly hilarious, but it delayed things a bit.
Yeah.
Basically, what happened, if you're familiar with the online learning management system Canvas, and you wouldn't be unless you do very specific jobs or were recently a college student.
Yeah, they got hacked.
They got hacked by a group of hackers who was effectively demanding a ransom from the company that manages Canvas, which has a very similar sounding name, to basically not release student records or files, I guess, about their grades. And they were largely targeting institutions that had a lot more money than my university does.
Yeah.
But it did mean the website was down for basically a night while they, I think, negotiated with terrorists or whatever is going on there.
Yeah.
It's such a, if you're going to be an online cyber hacker, you pick an online learning college management system to attack of all the things you can attack.
Yeah.
And from what I can tell, they didn't actually get into the infrastructure in a deep way. It just looked like they did, but that's what Canvas is claiming, and they would say that. So I don't know.
Who knows?
But I can tell you, if there is a cyber attack on Canvas, our university is going to be very low down the list in terms of people they're bullying, so it's fine.
Yep. Mostly it was just kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was why your brain was doing brain stuff. But
Yep.
The other thing that was kind of distracting us at this con, and was distracting us a lot more by the the other thing was we knew I had an important appointment with the US government coming up.
Yeah, I've completely forgotten about that 6 times
Yeah.
this weekend.
To be fair, that was actually really straightforward and easy. It's one of those things, it was the kind of appointment that I was stressing about.
Mm-hmm.
I was in and out in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's just something that was required as part of my my green card stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just a biometric appointment. Went in, they took my picture, they took my fingerprints, done.
Yep.
Simple, easy, but anytime you go near the US government and you're an immigrant these days, it's kind of stressful.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that actually took us 5 minutes on Friday.
Yeah.
Plus, because they send you a time and date you have to be there,
Mm-hmm.
and you can ask to change it, but just turn up at the time they tell you to turn up, quite frankly.
And I was also giving a presentation at this con. I mostly did that to get out of graduation. I have no problem saying that on the podcast because it was graduation for our students this weekend.
Yep.
And I didn't want to go because I would rather go to this, but graduation is technically the one Saturday I'm required to work, but I don't have to if I'm giving an academic presentation, which I was.
Yeah.
So I did.
You gave an academic talk today. So yeah, so
I prepared that also on Thursday.
Yep.
And
But
then Thursday night,
Thursday night. So technically we're going to reverse a little bit. So on Monday, a sign went up on the house next door to ours.
Yes.
A for sale sign.
Yep. Which we saw get put up because we were literally driving into our driveway when they put it up.
Yep. And we were like, okay, we are interested in buying a house. It's definitely in a neighborhood we know we like. We'll check on Zillow and all those places to see what the price is, and if we think it's reasonable, and if it's worth talking to a realtor and getting a viewing, and all of those things kind of lined up. We're like, okay. So on Tuesday, I dropped a text message to a realtor we've used in the past and said, hey, our neighbor's house has just got on sale. Stuff around us tends to go very, very quickly. Can we get in fairly sharpish for a look at it? And she said, yep. Thursday evening work for you? Like, yep, we can make that work. So Thursday at 6, we got an appointment to go and look at the house.
And we did discuss this beforehand, although I don't think we expected to be as serious as we were when we got in there, either of us. But we know that houses, particularly on our area, because as I was explaining to him a little bit before the podcast, I think realistically, in terms of staying in our area, we were realistically looking at 2 streets that have maybe a total of 20 houses on them generally.
Yep.
And this was one of them. So there's not really a lot of inventory.
Yep. And stuff around us goes very quickly. One house we know of went up for sale and had an offer in place literally that day.
Yep.
So, yeah. So we figured it probably wasn't going to hang around terribly long.
Yeah, and it was reasonably within its price range, I would also say.
Yep. So we went, we looked, we put an offer in.
Yep. That night.
Like
our realtor was literally up till 10 p.m. going over offer paperwork with us.
Yep. So that was on Thursday night. We needed to drive to this convention on Friday.
And we've never offered on a house before, ever. At least I haven't. I assume you haven't.
No.
Like, at all. Ever. Like, we've never bought a property. We barely understood how it worked. And we were effectively told by our realtor, since we were trying to make our offer competitive, because the main thing we wanted to do is buy the house before anyone else had a chance to offer on it or offer higher.
Yep.
So we offered in at asking price, and we're told because we offered at asking, our realtor, I keep calling him a lawyer, basically was just like, listen, I'm giving them like 12 hours to respond to this because you're offering asking and you very clearly want the place. So
it was slightly longer than 12. Basically, she get until 3 p.m. on Friday.
So it was like less than a full day to respond to it. So we knew by the time we likely got to the con, or very shortly after, we would know whether we got it or not.
Yep. So that was kind of stressing us out a fair bit.
We did not sleep that night, in part because, like, obviously that's adrenaline inducing and it's life changing, and neither of us have ever spent anywhere near that much money.
Yep.
So we didn't sleep that night. I wasn't sleeping great that week because of student stuff anyway.
Yep.
And then we had to get up, go to the con. We had to stop by your immigration appointment on the way to the con.
Yep.
Thankfully, that was actually relatively easy.
Yeah, that ended up being a lot easier than I was expecting.
Mm-hmm. And then we started driving down.
Yep.
And I'm like, because the text messages were on my phone, I'm like looking at my phone desperately to figure out if we got it or not.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, as you do sometimes when you're driving a long distance, you're like, okay, we need to stop for a bathroom break.
And keep in mind, I'm in a massive poofy dress.
Mm-hmm. So we stopped for a bathroom break.
Yep, I left my phone in the car because why would I take it in? And I needed to carry this massive poofy dress, and we were only going to be there for like a second.
Yep. And
we got back into the car, and before I could look at my phone, you looked at my phone.
Yep. And we got a text message from the realtor saying that it accepted our offer.
Yep.
Because, of course, it came in exactly then.
Yep. We were worried it was going to come in during opening ceremonies.
Yep. There was a non-zero chance of that.
There was at least an hour. We were still an hour outside of Louisville at that point, so we had at least an hour to process. But you have to keep in mind, my brain has just been circuiting between, like, I've not had a break at all. And like, I've spent most of this weekend trying to understand what escrow means. It's kind of complicated, and You still don't understand what escrow means.
I vaguely understand. I understand what it means in a broad sense. The actual process confuses the bejesus out of
Like,
me.
we should hopefully know tomorrow when we have an appointment with the lending officer, and we had to schedule a home inspection because they only give you 10 days to do that.
Yep.
So we're doing that, and also like looking at property values, and yeah, we were very distracted this weekend, and that's a shame because I do love this con, and I still love it and had a good time, but we were exhausted.
We were exhausted. Our brains were kind of on fire for half of it. Like,
yeah. And I do think, like, on Friday night, I just cried for an hour, which I expected to have happen at some point because you were going to have that endorphin crash of just, like, am I making this huge, giant mistake? And also all of this adrenaline is coursing through my body and has to get out of somewhere. So I cried pretty badly.
Yeah, you kind of, you found one thing that was, like, slightly different than you thought it was going to be.
Yep.
I'm
sure this is very common in home buying.
We had to text the realtor. We're like, hey, did we make a massive mistake by not thinking of this beforehand? And she was like, no, you didn't. Don't worry about it. And you were just like, thanks. We kind of needed to hear that from you.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So yeah, fun times. So that's what's going on in the personal life.
Yep. And that's, I think, why if you were talking to us this weekend, we seem a little bit less there than normal.
Yeah.
It's just like, that's literally that information. We literally just got it. I'm sure if you probably haven't bought a house before, you might not understand it. If you have, I imagine you have. Although if you bought it like 50 years ago, then you probably also still don't understand it. No offense.
Again, with the best will in the world, like, our generation, generally speaking, has at this point accepted that there's a pretty good chance we won't become homeowners.
I'm surprised they let us. Like, multiple people agreed that this was a good idea.
Yeah.
In like the span of 12 hours, everyone's just like, yes, this is a wise financial decision that you're making. They're supposed to stop you after the awake crash if you don't make a smart financial decision.
Yep. It's like, no, you can afford this. You'll be fine. We're like, really?
Yeah.
You sure about that?
You're like letting us own property?
You sure we make enough? Like, are you sure? Okay.
Yeah, we're not even anywhere close to like the recommended max amount we're supposed to be spending.
I'm really not. Like, again,
we're not going to say the actual numbers.
We're not going to say the actual numbers, but like, we are well. When we talked to the lending officer, he was like, we're approving you for up to this much in case there's a bidding war. Realistically, if it does get to a really bad bidding war and you still want it, let us know. We will send you a new pre-approval letter that approves you for a lot more because you are well below your absolute maximum. We didn't want to do that because we want to. Here's the thing. One of the reasons that we want to stay basically where we are in terms of location is, one, it's a 5-minute commute to work, which is super useful, and two, it lets us go to all these goddamn cons.
Yep. And we wanted to stay in our rent is next to nothing. Like, we're not going to get that low again, and we know that, but we also do need to expand.
Yeah.
We do probably want to start a family. We've been talking about that more seriously since this house thing comes up. And also, for people who are wondering, like, how for sure this is, because your parents were asking that, and I'm also wondering that. I did kind of look it up. There's a couple things that can allow housing to fall through at this point. One is finances. We're not too worried about that, knock on wood.
Yeah. Unless the finances end up being a lot worse than we're anticipating.
Yeah. But that's more approval stuff.
Yeah. The other thing is home inspection.
Yeah.
Like, we could have waived it, but yeah, we called up a couple of people like, so theoretically, like, waiving a home inspection does nominally make your offer more attractive, and they were like, yeah, don't do that.
Yep.
Get the home inspected before you buy it.
Yep.
Always.
And I am glad we did that because it does offer me a little bit more peace of mind.
Yeah.
And there's a few questions I do want to ask about, like basement flooding and stuff like that, and how secure stuff is, and other things like that. So, and yeah, they'll talk us through stuff and stuff like that. So that is contingent, but unless it's like for most ordinary things, I think we just ask them to fix them.
Yep.
If it's something like the house is going to collapse in 2 weeks because the foundation's about to fall apart, then obviously we'll find a different house. But I don't think that's likely.
But if it's stuff like, the water heater will probably need replacing somewhere in the next 5 to 10 years, it'll probably be a case of, okay, are you willing to like knock a couple of grand off the price to help pay for that in a couple of years? That kind of negotiation stuff at this point. So yeah, that's terrifying.
Yep.
But on the plus side, moving costs should be next to nothing, because I think our plan is wrangle students with free pizza.
Yep.
To help lug a couple of vaguely heavy things between one house and the next.
Or just our friends, generally.
Or just our friends.
Like, we are to the point where I feel like we're at the age where we shouldn't just be asking friends, but given that the move is next door, like, there's just no reason to hire movers for that. Like, even for the heavier items, it's just easier to have people just pick them up and walk them across.
Yep.
Like, it's not even that far.
Yeah. Like, it would actively be more difficult to load it into a van, drive the van to the house next door, and unload it off the van.
Yep.
So, yeah. It's... how have we managed a move that's going to be shorter than the one my grandparents managed, which was literally down the street?
Mm-hmm.
Like, when my grandparents moved, there was one particular chair they were bringing with them that physically wouldn't fit in the van, and I was just like, it's fine, I'll take it. And I just picked it up and walked it to their new house because it was easier than faffing around.
That will probably be all of it.
Yeah.
It'll just be that.
So, yeah. So that's what's going on in our lives. So that's why we were kind of out of it at the con, whose name we haven't even said yet.
Have we not said it yet?
No.
Oh my gosh, I am so sorry.
So where were we this week, my love?
Bourbon City Steampunk. I am sorry that your episode got hijacked by our shenanigans. We adore you.
This is the problem. We do absolutely love this con to bits.
Yeah.
And I do feel a little bad.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, our brains have been kind of out of it this weekend. So, yeah. We're going to move on from the personal stuff.
Yep, although I'm sure that, like, we might just have to have, for the next month or two, a housing segment.
just like, here's the progress. Here's how that's going.
Well, they say it's only going to take 3 weeks, so let's see if that's true.
Yep.
Like, our scheduled moving date, I think, is closer to July, but that's just because the owner asked for additional time to move the stuff out. The actual date when we will own the property is at the end of May. It turns out there's also a bunch of complicated stuff about that. I asked a lot of questions about that because I was more curious than anything else.
Yep. So, yeah.
But there's a very long agreement that's also working that out.
So, yeah. Technically, the, like, provisional date we have worked out for our, for the day where we would actually be doing closing and handing out the keys and all that stuff is the day we're supposed to be on stage at Colossal Con.
Yep.
So we'll see how all this works out.
Well, it says up to that date. It doesn't have to be exactly on that date. And the realtor also said that it's normal to move the date around slightly just to accommodate people's schedules of when they can be there to sign papers, which is fine.
Yeah, she basically said, like, if it's before that date, that's fine, because the contract explicitly says on or before this date. If it's after that date, they basically just slap an addendum on the contract that says, we changed the date.
Yep.
Which is fine. It's not going to be a major problem. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, basically, we spent the next hour in the car saying the phrase, we bought a house to each other a bunch of times.
Yep. And then we arrived at the con.
And we're still saying that phrase.
Yep.
Like, I was just in this fairy tale dreamland, I think, for an hour after that.
Yep.
So we went to opening ceremonies. I was sort of there for that one. So, actually, what happened is we did actually... Because this con has just registration. We haven't even described the space yet. You want to do that? We should probably shift back to normal format at some point.
Yeah, let's talk. Let's actually attempt to make this an episode of the podcast rather than just our therapy.
Yeah, sorry. I apologize for everyone who is actually associated with Bourbon City Steam. Maybe we'll put a timestamp when we post this on your Facebook group, which is if you want to hear about the con, go to this time.
If you want to hear about our personal lives, here's this bit. But anyway, so the convention center itself is the same one that they've used the last couple of years. It's also the place that hosts River City Gaming Con, so we've been here for a couple of different
events. And if you're
events.
wondering about the different names, most cities have quote-unquote nicknames that they give them. Louisville has both River City and Bourbon City. The first year of Bourbon City Steampunk Con, they were also called River City Steampunk Con, not River City Gaming Con. And then they changed their name to Bourbon City because I think River City was generating confusions with other cities that were also named River City.
Yeah.
I don't really care about what you call it.
It's almost like Americans are actually really bad at naming things. Historically.
You have a place called Shittington.
Yeah, we do. It's a great name. Here's the thing. All American names that are good, you stole from either the English or occasionally the French. But, yeah, so the convention center space, we actually quite like. It's got a big, central walkway through with panel rooms and a couple of ballrooms off it. Generally speaking, it's actually quite a nice space. It's just in is it technically a Holiday Inn?
Yes.
Yeah. As spaces for convention goes, it's not bad. Parts of it are falling down. Namely, there's a section of roof that they ain't fixed since we were there for River City, during that massive snowstorm. But, as a convention space, we do like it. I think. Do you have any major, comments or criticisms?
I'm still thinking about the fact we bought a house. I'm doing my best.
Focus.
I mean, the real roof is still kind of leaking a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah.
And like, it's not a hotel we can stay at, unfortunately, because they don't have accessible rooms for me.
Yeah.
But we did stay at a hotel across the street for the swim, similar to what we did for River City Gaming Con, which had accessible rooms. Not the same hotel, because that one was weirdly, like, bizarrely expensive this weekend. I think because it was the weekend after the Derby.
Might be Mother's Day weekend as well, or something like that, yeah. So, yeah, we were at the Hilton across the street, which worked out fine.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't have the advantage of the free food that the brewery had, but...
I don't think it was the Hilton, but I don't remember what it's called, and I don't feel like looking at it, so...
Oh, it was a Hilton.
Okay, maybe it was a Hilton. I don't know.
Marriott.
No, it wasn't a Marriott. I don't know. It's fine.
It's fine. It was one of them. Like, it was a hotel.
Yep.
It was aggressively fine.
Yep.
You know, it worked for what we needed for this weekend.
Yeah. Although, the reason we got it was to stay late for the room parties. The reason we wound up getting it is we needed to take mental health breaks during the con.
That ended up being useful.
Yeah, that was mostly what we did with it instead, because we wanted to originally get this because we really wanted to. Bourbon City Steampunk has like these very great late night parties that we really wanted to go to this year, and because we had so little sleep going into the con and we're dealing with existential dread, we mostly just used it to kind of drive back and forth and take more breaks than we probably otherwise would have.
Yeah,
which was still good.
It was very useful.
Yeah, just for different reasons.
Yeah, so sorry we didn't end up. We'll talk about the parties and all of that jazz. But yeah, so the space itself is fine. Food. So normally, Bourbon City has the restaurant that's in the convention center open of an evening to get food. They didn't this year, and that was apparently because the chef quit on Wednesday.
I know, because we're in their Facebook group where they do say things like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what the story is there.
Yep. But you know, so it is what it is. But they had their usual concession stand, which does, you know, like burgers and hot dogs and like fairly basic stuff. But I do quite like the fact that if you ask for a burger, you get basically just a burger patty and a bun. But there's a selection along the side of like cheese and, you know, like tomatoes and onions and lettuce and like a couple of different sauce options. So you can basically just build your own whatever you want on that burger, which is quite nice. You know, so I quite like the way they do that. It's good. And I'm pretty sure if you got a hot dog and you were like, I'm going to put some American cheese on this hot dog, you can do that. Yep. They will let you. They don't care. Yeah. So, yeah, as long as you've bought a thing that you can reasonably put condiments on, they don't care what condiments you're putting on it.
And parking's pretty easy. It's just free, and it's there, which means we can go back and forth for our hotel to that hotel as much as possible.
Which is super useful. They've basically got parking at the front, which is normally like the checkout area for the hotel, and parking at the back, which is the convention side of the world. But it's worth noting that that corridor is basically a big through line, so you can get from one side to the other very, very easily. Like, it's fine. It doesn't really matter which side you're coming in through. So yeah. So should we go chronological at this point?
Yep.
Cool. Let's do the thing that we you know, are now doing because we have fancy con ribbons.
Yep. I think it's obvious what the phrase should be this week.
Yeah. So we have con ribbons that we give out. We've got the normal ones that we just give out to anybody, and we also have the new special ones that we only give out to people who give us a secret code phrase. The secret code phrase this week is going to be "We bought a house."
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't have to tell you. You knew what it was going to be.
Yeah.
For the record, this is not us bragging. This is the con's therapy hours. Like this podcast is off of therapy hours, and it's just like we legitimately couldn't review this con if we didn't talk about this because like a lot of our experience at the con was just influenced by this, and that's not the con's fault, but it is something for which it's going to explain a lot of why we made the choices we made this weekend.
Because again, here's the thing: one of the things that will affect your experience at a convention is what's going on in the rest of your life.
And it says something that, like, if I got to choose which convention we were, like, going to on a week where we found out, like, massive life-changing news that's both positive and terrifying is, like...
I'm really glad it was this one.
I am, too. Yeah. Like, this is a con where I feel so comfortable talking to people and around people that I feel like I can just be my truest self in a way that makes me feel comfortable. And there's not a lot of cons where I would have felt halfway this comfortable.
I agree with you. Like, again, if it was just some random anime con, you know, I was like, one of the reasons we love steampunk cons so much, and we wish there were more of them, like, there's basically only 2 a year that we do.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's this in Key City.
It's this in Key City. There is also the like Steampunk Expo thing that we go to.
Yeah, which is in Burton, Ohio.
Yeah, but that's less of a con and more just of a like a day out.
Mm-hmm.
Like the reason we love going to those two, and we make the 7-hour drive to Key City, is because of the people.
Yep, they're amazing.
Like we're actively talking about maybe trying to do TeslaCon this year.
Yep.
Which that's also like that's an 8-hour drive.
Yes, but I think it might be worth it.
Yeah.
Like we do want to do a Chicago Steampunk Expo too, but it's just always cross opposite other summer cons that are closer. Generally, in Chicago it's a hard drive. It just is.
It just is.
It's a hard city to be in. So yeah.
Yeah.
And we heard that they're taking next year off, although that's not verified.
Yeah. There are some rumors that it might be happening.
Which again is fine. Stuff I need time to reconvene. But Bourbon City seems to be going strong right now. Like I feel like they're getting at least the same number of attendees, maybe even a little bit more.
Yeah, it felt consistent with last year.
Mm-hmm.
It did feel like people were slightly more spread out this year. I don't know if you felt that.
Yeah, well, we didn't also go to as much stuff this year.
Yeah, that's fair. So, at this point, we're going to go chronological.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll just talk about what we did. So, we got there. We got you into your hoop skirt because you didn't feel like driving all the way in your hoop skirt. Do you want to describe dress one?
Dress one is a dress that I had custom made for me over the holiday period, which is kind of a foofy avant-garde tulle pink and red dress with like weird cutouts and things like that. The theme this year for this con, which we have not mentioned yet, was Day at the Races, which is very much like Kentucky Derby theme, which is very cool. Steampunk racing and stuff like that, and they integrated the theme, I thought, super cutely.
They really did.
The nice thing about steampunk cons is you don't have to be a specific character. There are definitely some people who do steampunk versions of specific characters. Like I've seen steampunk Minion, steampunk SpongeBob, steampunk Harley Quinn, steampunk Strawberry Shortcake, which wound up being very fun this time.
Yeah. There was one year where the costume contest had 2 different people doing steampunk Beetlejuice.
I think just randomly.
Yeah, interestingly, steampunk gender swap Beetlejuice as well, which was really fun.
Mm-hmm. But because of that, it celebrates I love the costumes at Steampunk Con, and I love the fact that I can just wear dresses and just be my own original characters and concepts, and I don't have to like be a specific character, just somebody I like.
Yep. Whereas I was basically wearing my standard steampunk getup. I did bring my new boned corset.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't end up wearing this weekend because I did not have the mental energy to deal with it. Because again, I think I look good in it. Like I really like how I look in it, but at the same time, I didn't have the mental energy to ask you to help me get into it.
That's fair. I did notice you weren't wearing it, but I didn't have the mental energy to ask you why you weren't wearing it. So I think we're kind of even there.
Yeah.
Because I was like, he's not wearing that. I'm sure it's for a reason. But I don't have to.
Yeah, the reason is our brains have been just kind of screwy this weekend for obvious reasons.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, we got there. We went to registration. There was actually a line at registration, which varies, but it's pretty common on Friday. And I think that we're trying out a couple new things with the registration that were taking a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
So we were actually in line with registration. We talked to a bunch of people who said hi to us because we're recognized a little bit in the steampunk community, which awesome.
Love that. Incidentally, if you ever want to invite us as guests, we will happily do that.
Yes. Still pay for our badges too.
Yeah.
Although we did just buy a house. If you want to give us free badges, that's fine. What?
So yeah.
Like, in fairness, we've only been qualified to buy a house. Like, people have told us theoretically we can buy it.
Moving on from the house.
Sorry.
Okay. But yeah, so I think they realized that there was a fair line of registration.
Yes.
Opening was about to occur, so they basically just kind of came up and did an announcement of the reg line and basically said, hey, if you want to come to opening and you don't have your badge yet, not a problem, come to opening. Go and get your badge after that.
Yeah.
Because
which is very sweet.
Yeah, we appreciated that because I think they could, they wanted people at opening. They could tell that, there was a little bit of a delay at reg. It happened.
Yep.
And I think that was a good balance.
Yeah, and everyone was in good spirits about it because, again, they're excited to be at the con. And I will say Bourbon City is a con that really doesn't do much badge checking anyway, and in general, because it's not a con that anyone goes. There's just a kind of honor system there, and I want the con to succeed, and I want there to still be steampunk cons, so I'm happy to buy a badge. Yeah, we went to opening. Opening is always interesting at steampunk cons. I know they were shifting who did opening this year, because I think the person who is currently running Bourbon City Steampunk Con is having some health problems right now, so they've shifted this off. And I will say people's like steampunk names, because the one they're on the schedules, anyone can access them, and two, they're not people's actual names, to Professor Hops and Queen Bee.
Yeah, because their announcer for the past couple of years wasn't able to attend this year. I don't know the exact specifics of why, but they knew reasonably far in advance they weren't going to be able to, so they had enough time to bring in other people. And I think these two did a great job. Like, good energy, good vibes, like, got the con hyped and ready to go. Various announcements, like, shouting out specific events and all of that kind of jazz. In particular, they were talking about how much they love, like, the games and the silliness and the wackiness that you get at steampunk cons, which I do adore. Like, you do get to do stuff at steampunk cons you get to do nowhere else.
And Bourbon City in particular, and they did mention this, is very big on steampunk games. Like, they probably have more steampunk games than any other steampunk con, at least with the schedules I've looked at that. And by games, I mean very silly type of events where you just kind of get to be yourself, which I love both, basically, because they're both low stakes. Everyone cheers everyone on, which we'll talk about a lot.
Yeah.
And they're generally accessible to all ability levels for the most part.
Yeah. Some are a little
hard if you're in motor scooters, which they do actually have a large population of people who are disabled or people who use motor scooters a little bit. But even then, they do make accommodations for them. Also, just because I feel like being, I guess, slightly vindictive, I do want to point out that Steampunk, particularly Bourbon City, is an all-ages con. It's not just for old people, despite what certain influencers think.
Yes, we can all agree, screw that particular influencer who made that video about Wild Wild West con.
Yes. We're not going to say their name, but if you know who we're talking about, you already watched the video anyway, so...
Yeah, if you know, you know, and screw her.
Yep.
But yeah. So again, Steampunk is just an aggressively wholesome and welcoming community. That's the thing about it.
Yeah. And this was cute. It was mostly going over the different stuff you could do. They did go over brief, like, conduct rules and stuff like that, but at Steampunk cons, I think it's mostly, like, I don't know how much you even need it, to be honest.
Again, they did, it's interesting, Steampunk has their own subtle variation on cosplay is not consent, which I didn't know, but they basically said corsets are not consent, which again, definitely goddamn true. Don't touch another person without their permission. Now, with that said, if you're at a Steampunk con and you ask somebody for a hug, there's a pretty decent chance you're going to get a hug, but you ask first.
Yep.
Unless it's like an old friend you've known forever and you know is going to be cool with it, don't hug somebody without asking first.
And they introduced some of the special guests. Asgard and Lady Wheels were back again.
Yep, they're always fabulous.
They had Dr. Drake's exhibition of the Bazaar.
Which we'll talk about a little bit more when we get to it.
And I'm not going to name all the special guests because I frankly don't remember all the names. But those were some people who I liked for us.
Yep.
And Steampunk Xena was, of course, back again.
Yep.
And she brought her child, who's I'm not going to name by name because I think they're not 18 yet. But
that vibe was fantastic.
Yeah.
Like they understood the assignment and were basically in character all weekend. Like,
we found out they were like Steampunk Xena's kid the last day of the con, and we're like, oh, that makes sense.
That makes sense. Now I understand.
So yeah, this was fun. We got to like see a bunch of people get hyped for the con generally.
Yep. So again, pretty standard opening ceremonies all in all, but well executed, well done. It just set everybody off with the good vibes. They also did a toast.
Yep.
Which was cute. You basically got like a teeny tiny like beer glass that was made out of Perspex, and you got it's basically shot glass size. So they gave everybody a shot of water from the drinking fountain because again they had water stations set up throughout the convention center, which always a plus. Love it when those are there. So you got like a shot worth of water to do a toast with, to like start the con off on the right foot, which I thought was fun. I appreciated that.
Yes.
There's a non-zero chance Calamity probably like just didn't do a shot of water and just broke open one of the like 9 bottles she has hidden about her person at any given time.
Probably.
But so again, solid opening. Very much enjoyed it. Our brains were still fried, so we basically then went back outside.
Registration.
Back to registration.
Everyone pretty much got back in line in the order they were before.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Again, the person who was directly in front of us in the line previously kind of came up and I was like, you were in front of us, previously. Please go.
Yeah.
So I let her in front of us and she was like, oh, thank you very much. I'm like, no, again.
And they did have a more complicated registration process this year. I think you had to sign a code of conduct thing, understandable. And we did get, they were technically student badges, but they said on their website that they applied to anyone who was an educator, or they said teachers too, and I consider what I do teaching since I don't make more than high school teachers these days, so I feel like that counts. Yeah. You also work in education. They did put student on our badges, even though we're like not students, but rather
You have a doctorate,
educators.
so yeah.
But it was fine. Like, they said the badge was for everyone, and that probably just wasn't communicated to the person at the registration desk, and I did not have the brain space to correct them or, like, complain about it, and there's no reason to complain about it.
Worth it. Yeah. But the other thing was we did get our IDs checked so we can get an all-ages wristband.
Yes.
Or a 21-plus wristband, because several of the events at this con involve drinking, so they do check your... And the only downside is that the wristbands that we're using for this were the standard paper ones, which, as we mentioned before, don't hold up to a shower.
Yeah, but they did say very explicitly during opening ceremonies where they explained this process that you don't have to keep them on your wrist, you just have to have them on you. So we just put ours in the back of our badge holders.
Which I think worked quite well. We only needed them a couple of times throughout the weekend, but mostly on Saturday.
Yeah, and they did explain this also very well in terms of legal terms. Like, legally, you do have to have your ID on you if you're at a plus 21 event, just in case a random officer of the law attends the event and looks at your ID, which is fine. I think most people carry their IDs on them regularly anyway.
Yeah, like my UK driver's license and your driver's license are both just in my wallet at all times.
Yeah. But because I think particularly a lot of people at the con or people who were running the con were having vision problems, I think they just preferred to use wristbands because they were easier than looking for particular people's birthdays. Yeah.
They also used black and white checkered ones, which like fit with the race motif, which I did think was very cute.
I didn't even notice that until you said that.
Oh, you didn't?
I noticed they were checkered, but I didn't really get the connection.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's probably why they picked that particular styling.
Yep.
Also, nice.
Nice.
So, yeah, because we're very mature, we just passed exit 69, in case you're curious.
It's a better funny number.
It is.
So then we went back to the hotel to drop off our stuff and check in.
Yep. Yeah, we basically just drove across the road, got checked in.
I stayed in the car where you put some stuff upstairs, mostly like the food we brought and things like that, because we didn't want it baking in the car.
Yep. So we did that. That was, again, pretty painless as this stuff goes. Like, we're not a hotel review podcast, we're not going to talk in any detail about that, but it was fine. So yeah, did that, then got back in the car and went back over to the con. And I'll freely admit, being a 3-minute drive from the con, like, technically we could have walked it, but again, you were in big ball gowns, our brains were fried, and...
It's a busy street.
It's a busy street, basically. Like, we did walk it back and forth a couple of times during River City. That's mostly because it was so snowy that, frankly, driving would have been more dangerous than just walking over.
Yep.
And that also meant there were no cars in the way, because everybody else was also staying home, so the street was actually quiet, so we could walk across it. Whereas there are crossing places on it, but you kind of have to walk like up quite a ways and then across and then down. And with you in that ball, in the various ball gowns, it would have been doable, but a pain in the neck. And I think if we'd been planning on staying later on Saturday night, we might have walked.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that when we get there.
So then we came back across for tea games,
Yep.
which included both tea dueling and the run for the Earl Grey.
Yes. So tea dueling, we've talked about a bit on the podcast before.
But it has been a while, so
it's been a while, so we'll reiterate. Tea dueling is playing chicken with soggy biscuits. Out of context, that's a very weird sentence. But basically, you sit across the table from your opponent. You each have a cup of tea in front of you. You select your biscuit of choice. There is some debate in the steampunk community about the correct biscuits. Generally, Chessman's are used because they're considered to have like about the right level of likely to fall apartness. And then you face your opponent. You hold your biscuit carefully. You then dunk it in your tea for some seconds. Dude, stop flashing me. I cannot move any faster than the guy in front of me. So you dunk your tea for a set number of seconds, usually 5. You then withdraw, you hold it up in the air, and you face your opponent. And at that point, the duel of wits, hand coordination, and nerve has begun. And the goal is to be the last person to eat your entire biscuit. So if your biscuit falls apart, you just lost.
Yep.
If you manage to get it into your mouth before it does that, you win. But because you want to be the last person to do that, you are basically just playing chicken with how long can you hold it before you either have to eat it or it falls apart on you.
And it's very fun to watch. It's not something I can participate in just because of, like...
Your dietary stuff.
Yeah, my stomach doesn't like basically anything, generally. I did it once, I think, last year at Key City because they had smaller biscuits that I thought were a little bit better in terms of risk.
Mm-hmm.
But that was very silly, kind of off the books tea dueling.
That was street back alley tea dueling.
Yep. They were messed up a lot of the rules there, but they purposefully. This was more like, refined tea dueling. The person who was running this, Queen Bee, had the rules like printed off officially.
Yep, the official tea dueling rule set, as
Yes.
opposed to that dirty back alley tea dueling.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, this was fun. They had a little bracket style tournament going on. They had the classic chess biscuits, which I do prefer to Biscoffs, I think.
Yeah, the problem with the Biscoffs is they go too quick.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I understand the argument that chessmen sometimes hold on too long, but generally speaking, as long as the tea's sufficiently hot, because that's the thing is you need the tea hot enough to actually like melt the butter in the mix,
Mm-hmm.
which is part of what causes it to fall apart.
So yeah, this was fun. Like, it's always fun. I love tea dueling. I love watching it. It's fun in like all events at Bourbon City Steampunk. Everyone cheers on all contestants generally.
Yep.
So.
You are encouraged to smack talk your opponent to a certain degree. There wasn't that much smack talk because everybody was just very focused.
Yep.
We actually had a couple of people who their biscuits lasted so long. We ended up having to do a declare that one a draw and redo it because their hands were just so steady and they I think the tea had cooled off a little bit, if we're honest.
That was part of it, but I also do think they had pretty steady hands, generally. Yep. And we were trying to... Generally, when people do that, they'll have the duck the biscuits again, but they just have them keep going for redraws. Somebody has like a 5-minute video of somebody just staring at those biscuits, which is fun in its own way.
Yeah.
And the audience was getting in on it while they were doing that.
Yeah, just the audience kind of going, oh,
Mm-hmm.
it's still holding.
Yep.
It's still holding.
And this was honorable tea dueling. I have seen the dirty tea dueling where you can't just touch people.
Yeah, where you can like nudge them or like try to blow the other person's biscuit to see if you can knock it down.
Yeah.
Which is it's very dirty back alley tea dueling. But
everyone wins. I do think like they gave little pins to the people who got like first, second, and third place, which is very cute.
Yep.
And everyone wins insofar as you get biscuits and tea, which is awesome.
Yep. Yeah, you get your cup of tea afterwards to just drink because you dunked a biscuit in it. Nobody else wants to drink that.
Yep.
No point letting it go away. So there you go. You get asked to return. Most places, unless they're using like polystyrene cups, which don't use polystyrene cups for tea dueling, it's just tacky.
You don't even like tea.
No, but
you are English.
Yeah, again, I have standards.
By the way, your parents, legitimately get cranky if they don't have their afternoon tea.
Yeah.
Because they're that British. His parents are the most painfully, like... If you're thinking of a quintessential old British couple, that is exactly who his parents are.
Pretty much.
They are just that.
I love them to bits. So, yeah. It is, again... My parents are the kind of people who, like, have a specific teapot, or have different teapots that they use at different times of day, depending on, like, how fancy they want the tea to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I can even tell you what the china patterns on all of them are, because of course I can.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway. So tea dueling is an absolute hoot. This was, I very much enjoyed participating. I got knocked out in the first round because my hands wobble.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. It was a fair and honourable duel, and I have no problem admitting that I was bested.
Yeah. And then we had the Run for the Earl Grey. This was something that started, I think, with biscuits a couple of years ago. Because they had, like, I think the cryptid... I'm trying to remember exactly what the theme was. This was during the con's first year when it was called River City and not Bourbon City. They had, like, a tea run obstacle course where you were wearing tentacle fingers, because I think the theme had something to do with cryptids that year.
Yeah, it did.
And had to keep the biscuit, like, on your fingers while you were running around with tentacle fingers.
Yeah, after it was dunked.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was kind of chaotic. This was a little more organized.
Yes. So this was called the Run for the Earl Grey. They've kind of changed what this is every year. I hope they change it again next year just to keep people on their feet.
I honestly have fun with this event.
This is fair. It's basically like waiter on steroids, where you have to basically carry a serving tray through an obstacle course.
Without spilling the liquid.
Yes.
Technically, it should be scalding hot tea, but as they said, for the purposes of ensuring that nobody's clothing got damaged, in case there were any spills, we were using water.
Which is appreciative, but even with my costumes, I wasn't even willing to risk spilling water on this dress, so that was another one that was out for me.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy watching it very well.
Yeah, and I did participate. I came second in this
Nice.
one. So again, again, hold up a tray, table in the middle, chair, like set, probably what, 6 or 7 feet back from the table on each side.
6, 7. I hate myself already for doing
Good,
that.
good. You
I
should.
feel shame.
You should.
I'm not going to do that again.
Good. They're just like double figure 8 loop-de-loops around to start at one side, get back. Faster time wins. Nice and simple. You lose. There will be a time penalty applied for liquid spill.
Yeah.
Nice and simple. You did have a choice of trays,
which was part of the strategy.
Yes.
I will say, like, if they do this next year, I guess, like, if you want the event to be more fair, and I don't necessarily think any of these events necessarily need to be quote unquote more fair, it does kind of advantage the people who are later in the run just because they've seen how it's done more. And I do think earlier people were like so focused on not spilling the water, they were overcautious, and that kind of became less the case as the event was going on.
Yeah, people were realizing that those trays are actually a lot steadier than you think they are. So people were like close to running by the end.
Yeah.
Whereas but then again, I came second and I basically just did a power stride.
Now, you have very long legs.
I have very long legs, to be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah.
This was very fun. Everyone was cheering each other on.
Again,
it's so great.
It's fun. It's silly. Like, again, it's kind of quintessential of what I love about Steampunk. Is this event kind of dumb? Yeah. Did we have a blast doing it because everybody else in the room was also having fun doing it and watching it and cheering for it? Yeah. Yeah, we did. Also,
this is where I think we first met one of my favorite people of the weekend, or group of people, which was Mother's Day weekend. So a group of mother-daughters who I think previously went to this event brought their mom.
Yeah.
So the mom of the mom.
So three generations of the same family.
Yeah, which the mom who talked to us a bit later was said she was 86 years old.
Yep.
Which is awesome.
And her daughter and her granddaughter were just like, hey, do you want to go, for Mother's Day, we're going to take you to a steampunk con. And by the sound of it, she had a great time.
Yep.
Which I'm glad about.
That's awesome. That's just so wholesome on so many levels.
It's just good, wholesome fun, which I love.
And they did well in the events. Like, they were facing off against each other. It was great. I think we had granddaughter against grandmother at one point.
We did. Yeah, which of course led to some good smack talk.
Yep.
So yeah. So again, this was fun. This was good. This was a very good way to really get the con rolling. Not that opening ceremonies didn't, but you know what I mean.
So then we intended to leave to kind of just go back to put stuff in the hotel room.
Yep.
We did wind up not going back that day.
Yeah, and again, that's not on the con.
No,
we
it's
want to
not.
specify. Because our original plan when we were looking at this con earlier in the week, because we do normally look at the schedule in advance and kind of roughly plan out, was we knew there were various late night events going on. So we knew we were going to get checked into the hotel and do all of that kind of stuff. We figured we ended up running to the Kroger that's just kind of next to the hotels, just to grab a bit of extra food, because we were trying to figure out what my food plans for the weekend are. Because I don't plan ahead, I'm trying to cut back on the amount of money I've been spending on fast food recently because, frankly, fast food has gotten too damned expensive. For me to be doing it every weekend, so I need to be a little better about that, which I'm trying to be. So I was just looking for some slightly cheaper options that I could have just in the hotel room, and I found some stuff that I think worked. And then we also kind of looked to see if there was anything you wanted and all that jazz. So we did that. We got checked it. We went to the hotel room. We kind of collapsed there. We were planning to go back for the late night stuff.
Yeah.
Our brains were fried.
Yeah. Which I do think was a good decision, because we talked to a friend for a while just because we needed to process stuff, and then late as we were going to bed, I had a pretty bad attack, which I'm honestly pretty comfortable talking about, because I feel like pretty much everyone has had moments like this where life just overwhelms them so much that they just can't stop crying for a little bit.
Yeah. You basically found something about the process of house buying, which again, we're not going to go to a great deal about.
It's boring.
Because it's boring. That was going a bit more surprising and a bit more, was likely going to be a bit more expensive than you'd originally thought.
Which is incredibly common for first-time home buying.
Yeah.
And I know that. And it wasn't really about that. It was about 6 other things. And I also even knew that at the time it was happening. And it's mostly just this has been an incredibly stressful week on several levels. I haven't had a chance to really process any of those emotions because of how quick we've had to move from one thing to another, and I just needed to get the emotions out of my system, which did work.
Yeah.
Well, sort of. I woke up in a pretty bad mood the next morning.
You woke up in a pretty bad state the next morning. Again, what you needed at that point was for the realtor to tell you that one thing you'd been hyper-focusing on wasn't a mistake on our part.
Mm-hmm. I am sorry that this episode is so clouded with this other stuff, but it's just there's not another way that we can talk about this con.
No, not without like explaining it. Because that's the thing. We did want to do more late night stuff at this con, and I do regret the fact we weren't in the right headspace to be able to do it.
Yeah, there's always next year because they do have a really great late night scene, and it's like it's all ages late night. Like there are people there from the age of 20 to the age of like, let's just go with 86.
Yep.
Which is awesome.
I think there might be some people above that.
Yeah, no, great.
Like again, it's just a really nice, pleasant, fun experience.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So on Saturday we woke up. I still needed a bit of a brain reset. Talked to the realtor. Felt a little bit better.
Yeah.
We were also having to do a bunch of like various house-related things that day. The name was scheduling a home inspection.
Yep, scheduling a home inspection. Later in the day, we also got an email from the loan person basically saying, hey, we'll need your standard stuff like tax information and pay stubs and that kind of stuff just to verify various things, which again we expected. Wasn't a problem, and thankfully we had we had the laptops with us so we could do that without too many problems. But again, we did have to go back to the hotel and do it.
And we did want to get stuff in as quickly as possible because these people were working at times that were weird for us, so we wanted to work with them as much as possible.
Yeah.
So we did do that.
Yeah.
So in the morning, I think we just needed kind of a brain reset. There wasn't really anything on we wanted to do until midday.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to a cemetery.
Yeah. That sounds weird.
It does, but I honestly do recommend it. Like, if you're buying a house and are, like, worried about stuff, like, seeing a bunch of, like, tombstones and reminding yourself that life is really short actually is a very therapeutic experience.
Granted. Please explain to the lovely listeners who are now very concerned.
No, they're not.
Actually,
like, half of the people in this con are steampunk people who are obsessed with the macabre.
Yeah, this is fair, actually. I feel like if Leanna does hear this episode, she's going to be like, yeah, that sounds reasonable and sensible to me.
We're not supposed to say that. Well, actually, their name's on the schedule.
Their name's on the schedule.
We don't say names of people who aren't on the schedule.
Yeah.
Or who minors or both, but yeah.
Yeah. But, like, again.
So if you know anything about me, you know one of the things I'm obsessed with is swans.
Mm-hmm.
Like, generally, I adore them.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I need a walk this morning. We're near a hotel. We're like, we can't walk. I'm going to look and see if there's a park nearby that has a swan. And then I found a bunch of, because if you just Google, like, Louisville swans, you mostly get restaurants and stuff like that. But I found, like, this one Instagram of, like, a black swan, which is not native to anywhere generally. They're also a fun philosophical problem because originally, like, an endorsement of an empirical claim, which is something you can never know with 100% certainty, is all swans are white because every swan we've ever seen are white. And then it was proven, like, that was actually true, that we can't ever know that with certainty because it turns out that black swans exist in Australia because, of course, it's Australia.
Yeah, so you saw that and you were like, well, let's go to this place. Where is it? Such and such cemetery and arboretum.
Yep.
Okay. Again, open to the public.
Yep.
Like, it's clearly a place that other people do go and walk and all of that kind of stuff. Like, it wasn't like we were doing anything weird, like breaking into a cemetery.
No, like it's clearly public space. There were clearly other people there who were just walking around and not like seeing anyone. We're obviously respectful to people. Mm-hmm. The geese are not respectful to people. We saw a goose like
just sat on somebody's tombstone. Because again, like it was one of those headstone markers that has like a shiny surface on it.
Yep.
So I suspect it was probably absorbing the heat quite nicely. So I suspect the goose was just like, "Ooh, this is warm, yay!"
Tan.
Yeah. Some slightly jammed traffic overhead, but nothing awful.
Yeah. More near Cincinnati, I think.
Yeah, we're getting close to it. But yeah, so we went to this cemetery and arboretum.
I do find it funny that whenever I give you a quest, like let's find a black swan, you're disappointed when we immediately find it.
Mm-hmm.
Like we pretty much walked to the first pond, and immediately saw it.
Well, we drove there, parked up, got out, walked down to the pond, and then first we saw some white geese, which are really fun if you've never seen white geese, and then looked over and there was the black swan. And we're like, okay then.
Yep.
But yeah, so we basically spent, what, close to an hour there?
Close to an hour. We walked around a little bit, looked at various, like, the geese and stuff there are very clear that people feed them, so they will walk up to you. We didn't feed them.
Again, for the record, they had signs up saying, we thought there were signs that said don't feed them. When we got closer, we realized it was don't feed them bread.
But you can feed them other stuff, and I imagine people probably feed them birdseed and stuff.
Yeah, there was a list of recommended things that you can feed them safely. So they clearly expect people to do that. And,
It's also, if you're wondering, I did not wear a costume to this. I was in normal clothes.
Yes, you're in your swan dress, which, if people haven't seen it, it's just a cute little short dress with, like, swans and other
animals on it.
Which, it's a good, like, dress that we can bring with us to conventions because you can get into it very, very quickly and easily if you need to, if you don't feel like driving home in a full ball gown.
Yep. So we brought this with us. We looked at some animals, and again, this was a very good, just kind of brain reset of like, oh, okay, like, life's happened to a lot of people.
Yep.
And that things are okay. So yeah, I do recommend, if you're experiencing a stressful event, going to a cemetery during the daytime. At night, it probably is different.
Yeah, at night, it's probably a bit creepier.
Yeah.
But, I'm getting honked at by a lot of geese because you're not feeding them.
Yep. We also discovered that some of the geese had, like, nests in, like, these giant vases that were above
the dam. Yeah. I'm sure those goslings will be fine. So yeah, we did actually see some goslings as well, which made us very happy.
Yeah. I also apologize that your episode is also being hijacked by a review of the Louisville cemetery.
It was fun.
But Leanne has definitely been there. Like, she probably went there this trip, if we're being honest.
Definitely not impossible. So yeah. So we did that. That was a good, like, brain reset for the morning.
Yep. And then we got there for one of my favorite events ever, which we did last year at Bourbon City Steampunk 2, which is the Unicorn Romp.
Mm-hmm. So this is run by Steampunk Xena. We've talked about her before. She's very much somebody who, like, well-known figure in the community, does, the Fire Dance show late at night, does, all sorts of various bits and bobs. And yes, last year she started a unicorn romp where you dress as unicorns and you romp through the halls of the convention center. You blow bubbles. Unicorn-themed music is played. Again, somebody turned up with one of those, like, giant inflatable unicorn costumes.
Yes. And I was not wearing a unicorn costume this year. I did last year. But this year I wanted to do a more Day of the Races themed costume, so I was wearing my strawberry gown.
Yes.
And you're just wearing your standard steampunk stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was wearing that. I should have probably brought my unicorn horn, but the morning we were packing was a very stressful morning, so I just didn't think about it.
Didn't think of it. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I forgot the unicorn romp was happening this weekend until, like, we were looking at the schedule for Saturday and be like, oh yeah, this is going on. I don't know why the traffic.
Yeah, this is a very weird traffic thing.
Yeah, it's like there's no obvious signs of anything, like, causing problems. We're just very stop-start for some reason. In terms of, like, we're accelerating up to, like, 50 and then having to slow back down to, like, 10. And it's doing it in waves and it's weird. But anyway.
So yeah, this is basically where you just wear unicorn hats and blow bubbles, and Steampunk Xena plays Space Unicorn, the best song to ever exist. And you romp through the halls.
Yep. Through the halls, through the vendor space. We went to go visit the mermaids.
Yes. I didn't mention the mermaids earlier, but they're here.
Yep.
We mentioned them last year. They're back. That's just a group of people who are certified, because I found out later, I think, during one of the tastings, that there's a certification process for being a mermaid.
Yeah, my guess is because they're going to be, like, swimming and doing shows in the water, they probably, one, have to be lifeguard certified, and two, they're going to be doing it in, like, mermaid tails, which probably means you need very special training in order to do it without killing yourself.
Yes, but it's awesome that the con had them back this year. I just love the flavor of steampunk cons. There's just so much unique stuff.
Yeah, the Blood Sirens are a really awesome group of people. Like, we don't spend a lot of time with them just because we do not want to get chlorine anywhere near your dress collection.
But when they're out of their tails and in their land fins, we've hung out with them a little bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, people took pictures next to the Blood Sirens, which was cool.
Yep.
And we got little trinkets from them, which was also very cool.
Yep.
And
we got some skulls.
Yeah, and generally pictures at this con were generally free, which was also awesome.
Yep.
Ugh. So we did our little romp. It was a good romp.
Yep, we romped. We played.
And hung out with the Blood Sirens.
Yep. Then I feel like we had a little bit of a break.
Yeah, because the unicorn romp doesn't take the full hour, generally.
Yeah. like everything at this con was scheduled to run for at least an hour, just officially. But there were several events this weekend that just ran a little shorter than that. But again, like they were kind of expected to.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. So I think we had about a 30-minute break. We probably played So Clover or something.
Yep.
And then we went to Dr. Drake's exhibition of the Bizarre Tubes. They did a show previously.
Yes, which we walked past but didn't go into because, again, our brains were fried. So Dr. Drake's exhibition of the Bizarre is one of the, I think they think they're one of about 5 like traveling circus and exhibition-y shows left in the world at this point, or left in the United States. So if you're thinking of like sideshow carnival stuff, that is what this was. But as they said, they are one of the few still left operating.
You okay?
Yeah, my ears just popped for whatever reason.
Yeah. So this is very fun carnival act feel. Yep. Like I do feel bad they didn't have a bigger audience because I do think the stick works a bit better with a bigger audience, but it still does work.
It works. Like again, they've got good stage presence, they've got good vibes, like they know what they're doing. Again, I think it was just early on Saturday and everybody was still hungover from the Friday night parties. But again, it was a good show.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Like they started with the eating weird stuff, which again, that's not my thing. It's not your thing either.
Yeah, they do have a couple like gross out things or some like masochistic things that they do, like walking on a bed of nails or like having somebody lay on their back on a bed of nails or walking across glass and stuff like that, and that just kind of skeeves me out. Similar to when they like punch nails into people and things like that. It's just body horror stuff is just kind of skeevy to me. So like it's not that it's bad in any way, it's just not to my taste of something that I like.
Yeah.
Like they do it very well and their showmanship is very good. But I like the magic stuff a lot.
Oh yeah.
Because they also have very good cool like magic acts that are very like fun. And we saw them last year too, and they definitely changed up their act a little bit.
A little bit. It was broadly similar. I could definitely recognize some of it, but some of it was definitely new.
Like they definitely did a couple new tricks and things like that. Like I think the orange grind trick was new.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, this was very cute. It's very fun. It was entertaining. You got to be pulled up on stage because they needed volunteers and there weren't a lot of people in the room. Yep. So we probably should have played up that moment a little more, but I think we were tired. Because they did like a trick where I think it's fine if I describe the trick, not like how it's done. Not that I know.
I don't know.
Where like they put like a bunch of like
put a couple of knotted handkerchiefs in my pocket, and then when they pulled it out some like embarrassing stuff with it.
Yep, like I think a woman's bra. It was not mine. If it was actually mine, I would be way more impressed.
Yeah. Even though you weren't wearing one at that point because you don't need one with that strawberry dress.
No, but they can magic it from anywhere, you know. Because I don't have a red one currently.
Yep.
I should have shouted, "Hey, that's mine" or something. I thought about it, but I didn't quite have the guts to do it.
That's fair. But yeah, so again, very fun, very enjoyable. Like they have excellent stage presence and charisma. Like I wish they'd had a slightly bigger audience, but it happens. But no, it was a good show. I'm glad we went. What was next?
After that, we briefly called to schedule a home inspection.
Yeah, we did. Was that? Yeah, that was probably just after that, wasn't it?
And then we did adopt a hobby horse, which was, I think this is the first time we've technically done a workshop at a con, or one of the first.
Yeah. Because we knew that one of the upcoming events was the hobby horse racing, which we knew we wanted to participate in. And
to do that, you do need a hobby horse.
Yes. And you could either turn up with your own, or they were doing an adopt a hobby horse event.
Yes.
Where they had a bunch of hobby horses that were made. They were wood carved specifically.
These were handmade hobby horses.
Yeah. But they were, should we say blank? Would that be the best way to describe them?
Naked, I guess. Basically, they were just wood. Which, again, they were already incredible looking just on their own. Like, they all looked amazing.
Yep. But basically, the Adopt a Hobby Horse event was you turned up, bought the hobby horse for $15. Very reasonable. And then they just had like a table of supplies where you could do, you could customize your hobby horse. You could make it look interesting. You could do, different stuff to it.
Yeah, they had a bunch of supplies. And for $15, this was a very good deal, given that you got to keep the hobby horse at the end. Like,
Yep. She's an Albra.
We decided their gender identity. We had a long discussion about that.
Yeah. They're in the back of our car right now.
Yeah. And we tend not to do workshops at cons because, one, they do tend to cost extra money, understandably, because you have to pay for the supplies, which we do get. And two, like, I'm wearing a massive costume, so generally anything that involves anything craft-wise, I don't want it.
Yep.
And three, neither of us are terribly crafty to begin with.
Yeah, and again, there was a lot of hot glue at this event, so you will be quite careful.
Yes, but
like,
you did most of the hobby horse building, and I just made like aesthetic suggestions. We wound up with a Christmas theme one, so we named it Christmas because that was just the color scheme that we wound up having.
Yep, wasn't intentional when we started; it just kind of ended up that way.
Yep,
which frequently how craft projects that you don't plan in any way frequently end up just going, oh yeah, that makes sense.
And ours looked respectable, but a lot of them looked really cool.
Some of them look fantastic.
Like there was a mermaid one that was made by one of the mermaids.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if that person identifies as a mermaid or a merman. Either's fine.
One of the sirens.
Yep.
Siren, I believe, is gender neutral.
Yeah, it is.
So again, that was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a bunch of others that were just really, really great.
Yep. And this is where we noticed Steampunk Xena's son, who was basically being a cowboy character all weekend in theme with Day of the Races. He was at Tea-Dueling too.
Yeah.
But this one was the one where he really got to show off his character.
Yeah, it was great. He named his hobby horse Fungus-Faced Jim.
Yep.
And based on the results of the race, I think that fungus might have been doping that horse.
We did put like a paper cup over the front of it, and people like had bridles and they had yarn you could do.
Yep.
Somebody also did a really cool like yarn like ombre mane that was just amazing.
It was spectacular. We did like a bow around the neck of ours and stuff like that. Like there was just a lot of places you could take it and just have fun with it and just like slap on the hot glue and have fun. So this was a really nice little event because like it was also very wholesome just in terms of there was a lot of, hey, can you pass me that thing? Yeah, sure.
Yep.
Like there was no, it didn't feel like a competition. Like yes, there were prizes awarded at the end for the best one, but like everybody was just there to have fun, do something silly, and compliment each other.
Have we shifted into the race now? Because are we still talking? Okay.
That again. They didn't give out the prizes for the
Yeah, there's a prize for building your hobby horse. And keep in mind, you could also bring your own hobby horse. I think those people probably had an advantage in some ways. One of the people who was doing like microphone stuff over the weekend built theirs out of an old like microphone stand.
Yeah, that was Mike Check the Horse.
Mike Check the Horse. Mike Check the Horse got mic dropped at one point.
Yes, he did. Which of course led to a lot of he's fallen. We'll have to put him down. Jokes. But again, like this was just very, very wholesome and friendly.
Yeah, and this is the thing I love both about the Unicorn Romp and about the hobby horse and about everything else. It's just like I really do maintain that like adults shouldn't stop playing these games. They're very good for the human spirit. They're good generally. And like it's just good to be doing this silly sort of stuff, and we shouldn't have to stop doing it because we're adults.
Pretty much.
Like I want to see 80-year-olds racing hobby horses. Like this is like I really enjoyed this, both the making it and the race, way more than I thought I was going to.
Yep.
Like I know it was a good deal for the horse itself because like this was a handmade hobby horse that we still have. We're probably going to give it to our friends' kids.
There's a non-zero chance we'll do that if we remember.
Yep.
And if the parents don't decide, it might be a little dangerous because again, it's solid wood.
It is.
So,
It's probably not great for actual children in the modern context.
But it's fun and silly, and just, again, the vibes were really good. So basically, the hobby horse making thing, just sidled straight into the hobby horse race.
Yeah, I think somebody was still making their horse at the start of the race, so they moved further down the bracket.
Yeah, there was somebody who was supposed to be higher up the order, and they basically said the glue's still drying.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, we'll do we'll bump you down a bit.
Yeah. But it was very, like, the making was very, very wholesome. Like, everyone was passing each other stuff. People were, like, making suggestions on how to improve each other's horses. And everyone knew to name their horse, which was also important.
Yep.
We named ours Christmas.
You got bonus points at the race if you turned up with a horse with a name.
Yep. Everyone, of course, did that.
Yeah, obviously. So again, this was just very fun and wholesome. So the next thing was the race.
Yep.
So this was relatively straightforward. It was a circular course with obstacles.
The obstacles were like blow-up barrels and like bricks that were made out of shoe boxes that they taped bricks over, which is great.
It's great. With like bars between them, so you had things to jump over. Because again, wouldn't be the Kentucky Derby if you didn't have to jump over things.
And they do actually, for all these events, have very sophisticated rubrics for scoring, but all of them are for very silly things, like style. So when this event started, you basically went in order around the course, and I love that everyone cheered everyone equally, no matter how good or bad they were at doing it.
Oh yeah.
And
Well,
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, some people were doing it in dresses and things
Yeah.
like that. Like, yes, technically you lost points if you knocked over the obstacles, but again, you would also do it in a hoop skirt. It was fantastic and funny to watch.
Yeah. And I originally not wanted to participate and just let you do it because I thought, one, you had to stick the horse between your legs, which I obviously can't do in a ball gown. But I found out you basically just had to hold the horse.
Yeah, you could ride side saddle if you wished.
And I saw a few other people going, and I saw that they were having a great time, even though they might not. They obviously knew they weren't the most dexterous people, and everyone was just cheering them on anyway. And I'm like, you know what? Anyone of any ability level can do this. I kind of want to do it too, even though I'm definitely going to knock over multiple obstacles, and it's going to look silly.
Yep.
So I came up with a plan for a run.
Yeah, so you were basically stood watching, from the foot of the stairs, which is basically at the other end of the course. So you just texted me and was just like, hey, let me take over halfway through the race.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. I didn't even respond. I just looked up at you and went, yep. I just gave you the thumbs up.
Yeah, and I'm like, let's just do this for fun because it'll be a fun thing for the audience. And we did, and I knocked over multiple obstacles, but I finished the race, and everyone got an ooh, and we switched places.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a moment where the judges were like, oh, changing riders mid-race. That's that's a tactic we've not seen before. We'll see if it works for them.
It didn't.
It didn't.
It was funny.
But it was great. The audience liked it.
I'm like, a Steampunk Con is the only place where I'm going to feel comfortable enough doing that in a massive ball gown. Not being able to coordinate at all. They made me feel safe enough to do that. And that's awesome.
Again, it was very fun, very silly, very wholesome. Again, they gave out prizes and awards.
Mm-hmm.
But, it was great.
Yeah, they gave out enough awards that half the people got them. We didn't, but I didn't really care. I was just there because we got that cool, we got that audience reaction. That was the one thing I wanted.
Yep, and we got to keep Christmas.
Yeah, obviously the cowboy, child of Xena, took first place in the riding competition, and they were both amazing at riding and also in character the entire time. It was spectacular to see.
It was great. Again, Fungus Face Jim was a good hobby horse.
But a bunch of people also just changed costume for the race because they had a special costume that they wanted to wear to match their horse, which was awesome.
Yep.
Which gave me an idea for later.
Yep. Yeah, we realized that people were switching costumes, and we realized we were actually pretty close to our hotel room.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about the detail, but I think that was when we decided that if and when we came back for the evening events, because we knew there was going to be a little gap, what we might actually do was have you switch costumes into the dress you had been planning to wear for day 3. And I think that ended up working out.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that more in detail when we get to that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this event was so much fun. I adored everything about this. I adored how the audience was cheering everyone on. I enjoyed everyone going. I enjoyed everyone having fun. It was just great.
Yeah. What was next? Was the costume contest next?
Yes, we did briefly stop by the swap meet, which is more of just kind of a table.
Yeah.
So the swap meet is not at other cons, it's an official meet and greet where you swap stuff. This is just a table where you can put items you want to relocate and other people can take them.
Yep. Nice and simple and straightforward.
Yep.
Yep. We had a look. We didn't see anything we wanted to...
I really need to remember to start bringing stuff to these, especially once we hopefully move, because I'm sure we'll have a box of just miscellaneous things we need to get rid of.
We're definitely going to have some stuff that's just okay, this is a good opportunity to have a clear out of random crap we've acquired. And then we're going to get nostalgic and be but we got this at this place. We should keep it. Because that's how that works.
Also, weirdly, just as I'm going through the schedule, how to build a flyable airship, which was at the a little bit after the costume contest, is the one thing I can find that's not it's listed as going from 5 to 5:58 p.m. specifically.
Okay.
I don't know why that is.
That's very weirdly
No
specific.
one of the other ones do that.
It's going to be something weird.
There's probably some in-joke or something.
Yeah, very possibly.
So after checking out the swap meet table, we got a seat for the costume contest early. People were commenting we're sitting in the same seats all weekend because we like the front row because of my ball gowns.
Yep.
We were next to that weird flashing camera thing. Oh,
yeah.
There's a lot of photography at this con, which is awesome. Oh, one thing we didn't mention that we did right after the race, actually, was we got our pictures taken in the panorama thing.
Oh, yeah, we did.
So this was free and kind of awesome.
Yeah. So this is basically just one of those 360 panoramic photo things. where, well, I say photo, it's a video, but basically it just, you put your phone in it, or they put your phone in it for you. You stand on the thing, it swivels around, you can like do actions and stuff. So like I still had my hobby horse with me, so I was like, miming with Christmas.
Yep.
I would be like, pointing ahead in a like charge that way, gallop, gallop, gallop kind of way.
And I just kind of stood there awkwardly, but it's fun.
Yep. Yeah, and they were very like respectful of your ball gown and like being careful with it because that one does have a bit of a train, and we wanted to make sure that the train was not going to like snag the mechanism and like mess up either their thing or your ball gown.
Yep.
So they tested it very carefully before they actually did that with you, which we did appreciate. So that was fun.
Yeah.
But the material of that one was made of was slidey enough that it...
Yeah, I just went over it. They tested it, which I really did appreciate.
Yeah.
And the photos were cute. It was a little bit awkward, but I hate getting my photos taken generally. This was at least a fun thing to kind of try to do, though. And it was free, which is awesome.
So so we did that. Then we, as we said, went into the costume contest to watch. And again, we were basically... Every time we went into main events this weekend, we were parked basically the same seats.
Yeah. And it is interesting to me because I think the people who were running it were also commenting on this. Like in Steampunk Cons, pretty much everyone's in costume, and yet you always only see like less than 10 people entering the cosplay competition or costume competition.
Most people don't want it to be a competition. I think is the thing.
Yeah, I think it would be fun. It was just kind of an exhibition where everyone could tell them about their characters and how they made it. Part of it's also like generally steampunkers tend to do more of what I do, which is kind of like piecemeal stuff and create their own looks as opposed to make it, although they did make it.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, one of the people who was in this actually met previously while you were doing the hobby horse competition, because as you were finishing up gluing the hobby horse, I took a step away just because there was a lot of people crowded around the table at that point, and you were finishing up.
Yeah, and there was a lot of hot glue flying around. You're like, I'm going to back up and make sure not to make it.
And I found this totally awesome strawberry shortcake steampunk cosplayer, and I was just like, I'm dressed in a strawberry dress. I have to get my photo with you.
Yep.
When she realized there were strawberries on the dress, she wanted to get her photo with me too.
Yep.
So yeah, that was just adorable, and wound up helping her, I think, later.
Yep.
So then the costume competition, I think, had about 10-ish people in it total.
Sounds about right. It was probably somewhere in that ballpark.
And again, there's not really a lot of rules for making versus buying. I do think they do privilege making a little bit, but like I do think they try to make it kind of just whatever. Did you have an interesting design?
Yeah. Because again, that's kind of the thing about steampunk. Most steampunk costumes, especially if you're somebody who has a specific character you play at a lot of cons, your costume will grow and evolve and change over an extended period of time, frequently with you just being like, oh, that's a really cool hat. I think that would fit my character. Buy the hat, add it to the costume.
Yeah.
So relatively few costumes at steampunk cons are made from the ground up by the person for that specific con, which means you don't really get that like nitty-gritty construction contest kind of thing that you do at at a lot of anime cons and things like that, which I think is part of the reason that that YouTuber who won't be mentioned didn't like the way they did costumes.
Yep. Which is very, very fun, and people also like buy pieces of each other and add them to their costumes all the time, which is also very, very, very cool. And you do tend to have like either steampunk costume contests tend to have like strawberry shortcake, and they also had a Harlequin this year, which was awesome. Steampunkified pop culture characters, where it's that character, but it's your own version of the costume rather than trying to be costume accurate, which is awesome. Or
my favorite thing.
A lot of original characters, which is also very awesome. I love the costuming at Steampunk Con so much. It is worth going just to see the costumes.
It really is. Like, one of the people this year was a time traveler whose like pet octopus accidentally got merged with them during a time travel accident.
That's amazing.
That's such a cool concept.
Yep.
So their outfit had like a bunch of tentacles and a bunch of lights on it and stuff. That was great. So again, like you can just. The thing I love about steampunk is you can just do all kinds of stuff with it.
Yeah. So they announced that this contest would be judged partially on applause and partially on judging. I think, I don't know exactly how that worked.
No clue.
I don't think they knew exactly how it worked either, which is fine. It's not really about winning. It's about having fun. So they pulled, I think, 4 of the people up and then did the old applause meter for them, which included Harley Quinn, Octopus Person, Strawberry Shortcake, and somebody who I don't think made their own costume. We did talk to them later. They did make a camera, basically, and hid a camera inside of it.
Yeah. Yeah, so they had one of several, I believe, old school looking camera tripods that basically had modern high-tech cameras hidden inside them so that they could use an old, they could use an old style camera to, or thing that looks like a
Mhm.
a 19th century camera to take modern high-res pictures. That's just cool, and that's just fun and nerdy and all of those like things that make steampunk special.
So yeah, then they called them up. They did yield applausometer. Applause was pretty much equal for everyone because of course everyone is very just polite and irrespective of costumes. But I cheered extra loud for the strawberry shortcake cosplayer who did wind up winning.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was because of that, but I kind of wanted to believe.
Yeah, you did cheer extra loud for them, which is fine.
Although they said I was supposed to, and it was my favorite costume for entirely biased reasons, but that doesn't matter.
Yep. The old applausometer is allowed to be biased.
Yep. And they thanked me afterwards for help. I don't know if I actually helped them win. I want to believe I can because I can scream when I want to. As you
really,
all know.
you really can. You've got a set of lungs on you when you want to.
Yep. Somebody said that I think at a couple cons ago.
Yeah.
I think it was when we were at the Federation, Star Trek trivia, and no one was back there except us, and I screamed really loud.
Yep.
And the person next to you was just like, "She's got lungs on her."
Yep. But yeah.
Yeah, this was very, very fun. It's very, very cool. I do kind of wish there was a way to get more people who had costumes on stage. For me, I just don't really want to compete. But if I get to walk across the stage and talk about my outfit and why I love it, I would do that. So maybe have an exhibition portion that's just people who don't really want to be judged, but just kind of want to walk across the stage in their costume.
And talk about it a little bit because again, this was nominally 4:30 to 6. I think realistically it finished about 5 o'clock.
Yeah, and I do get it, but it's just at Steampunk Cons, everyone's in costume, but no one wants to do this. So maybe we need to change it a little bit so that it's more accessible to everyone and doesn't necessarily have to be a competition.
Yeah. But again, that might just be how much we hate cosplay contests generally.
It might also just be that people just don't want to bother with walking across the stage and just would rather their costume be admired in the hallway, which is also great.
Also fair and valid. So yeah. At that point, was that when we headed back to the hotel?
Yeah. And if you're wondering why I didn't enter, because I know people compliment me on my costumes a lot at this con, which I greatly appreciate. It's mostly just because I don't really make them. I just kind of modify them a little bit.
Yeah.
And also, this weekend, there was no way that was happening. So we went back to the hotel. You ate. I showered.
Yep.
And then I decided this would be a good time to costume change.
Yes.
Because I did have a longer black dress that was very Victorian and very fun and covered in star patterns, but it was long sleeved and was a bit hotter during the day. So I decided it'd be cool just a dress to wear kind of at night. It's kind of a gothic vibe.
Yeah. Switched your blonde wig for a white one.
Yeah, it was my first time wearing this one too. I adored this on. It looks so good.
Good. Because I picked this one.
You did. I gave you an option of 3 dresses and you chose one, but you did pick this one.
That counts as picking.
Yeah, but it's as though any of the 3 options would have been bad.
I know. But again, I'm glad you like it.
So this is when we went up to the kind of suite that they have set off for parties when we got back. So this is up on the 7th floor.
Yep.
It, I think, was originally a hotel room, but they just kind of let the con take it over for parties.
Yep. It's very clearly a hotel room.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's a hotel room with
a bizarre level of kitchen in the back of it.
Yeah, it's got a working kitchen in it. It's not a big kitchen, but it's got one.
Mm-hmm.
And a sitting area. So I suspect it's probably the biggest suite would be my guess, and the con just uses it for stuff like this.
Yeah.
So when we got there, they were just wrapping up the beer panel.
Yes.
Which I'm not a beer drinker. My father occasionally comments that he thinks he failed as a father because he taught me to drink wine rather than beer.
But he also drinks wine rather than beer.
He does drink beer.
Okay.
Not as much, not as often, but he does drink it.
I don't drink. Alcohol kills me faster than it kills most people.
Yep. We think we figured out why.
Yeah, it turns out I'm a super fast metabolizer, which means the drugs don't ever actually just hit my system. I just go straight to being hungover.
So that just kind of sucks for you.
Yeah, but then it doesn't even last till this is the thing, is it doesn't last long is the other thing. It lasts till the next morning. It's impossible for me to be hungover the next day. If I go to sleep, I'm going to be fine.
Yeah. But yeah. So we kind of sat at the edge of the beer drinking panel. And then the panel after that, they needed to do some setup for, because this was, what was it officially called? I know. Oh, this was a day at the races.
Yes. So yeah, it was Calamity Dawn.
Yep.
Calamity Dawn is very famous for her cocktail making, and most steampunk conventions will have her just making fun drinks.
Yep, she is a professional bartender.
Yes.
That's her actual
And
job.
she does a, I think, mocktail one now for like people who can't drink.
Yep, which is fun.
And or too young to drink, and she also does a cocktail one. And this one I will admit as a non-drinker, these are not. It's sometimes hard for me to understand what's going on because I understand literally nothing about alcohol. But I knew you were gonna really like this one because it was drink songs inspired by the band Queen, who wrote an album called Day of the Races.
Mm-hmm.
It was mostly just a nod to Freddie Mercury, and I know that you love Queen and you love Freddie Mercury, so I figured you would really like this.
I find it fascinating that Calamity and I apparently have the same favorite Queen song,
Yep.
which is "The Show Must Go On." Which, if you know anything about Freddie Mercury, and in particular if you know about the history of the song "The Show Must Go On," he recorded that basically on his deathbed.
Mm-hmm.
As far as we know, there is basically one recording of that song because most of the rest of the band didn't think he could do it because he was like weeks away from dying and he knew it at that point. But he came in, he belted it out, and that song is heartbreakingly beautiful to listen to. I adore "The Show Must Go On." So interesting that so this is basically a series of cocktails, each inspired by a Queen song. They weren't all from the album "A Day at the Races." Some of them were, some of them weren't. But it was just this was just a fun little concept.
Yeah.
So for example, she had a variant of an old fashioned called "Good Old Fashioned Lover Boy." Most of the cocktails involved Freddie's favorite brand of vodka, which was apparently Stoli. She's somebody who puts a lot of in this case, this was a panel about art.
Yep.
And a lot of people will say, "Oh, well, making drinks isn't art." You're wrong.
I 100% agree that they're wrong.
Yeah, it's a creative endeavor. Yes, the result at the end is you get to drink something weird and get drunk, but hey, that's still art. It still makes you feel. There was also a lot of edible cold glitter going around for some of the drinks because again, Freddie Mercury would appreciate that. So basically, she would talk you through the process of making each drink, talk about the inspiration behind why she was using the ingredients she was, what in particular about the song it was that inspired her to do that particular combination of things. And then, based on what she said, she usually does raffle tickets at the door and then just raffles off each drink.
But you couldn't find the raffle tickets.
I think it was more just because she had to do a whole bunch of setup to transition from the beer panel to her panel and set up the bar and move a bunch of people around, and a bunch of people were already in the room. There kind of wasn't time to give out raffle tickets.
Yeah.
So, she just kind of gave out each drink as it came up for various reasons. The first person who got one was literally just, they were the first person to say, "Well, can I have it?" She was like, "Okay, you can have it."
Yep.
Later, somebody assisted her with a thing, and they're like, "Cool, next drink's for you." Stuff like that. Kept it simple, kept it moving forward, and again, it was a fun panel. I enjoyed it a lot. How did you find it as somebody who doesn't care about alcohol?
I mean, I will admit that drink parts were hard for me to understand just because I wouldn't be able to understand what flavors went well together. So it's mostly people saying kind of random words and being like lavender, and I'm like, okay, I've had lavender in food before. That's interesting. I don't really know how it pairs with alcohol in any way, but I will say, I can tell Calamity definitely has bartender experience because she is so good at regaling her personal stories and working in other stuff that was still entertaining for me to do. I will admit at this point in the night, I was kind of fading a little bit in terms of attention span generally. Fairly common for people with digestive issues. My body was, I think, just kind of shutting down because I'm just it's just okay, you need to take care of yourself. You have not been doing that lately. Your stomach is now angry at you for not appeasing it. You're going to have to make a sacrifice soon.
Yep, it would be nice if you could A, get some food, B, get some goddamn sleep.
Yep.
Because I don't think you've had a good night's sleep.
I had a good night's sleep last night.
Yeah.
Sort of, for the most part. It wasn't my own bed, so that's still a limitation, but I was okay. And I'm hoping I'll be okay this night, too.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy it. It was just, I was kind of in and out of attention on it. Because they also asked a question about, what was the second most expensive spice after saffron. And I knew that was vanilla, and I didn't realize till after the answer that was the question that had been asked. But I wouldn't have said anything anyway, because then I would have had to drink something, and that wasn't happening.
You could have just handed it to me.
That's true, I thought about it. But I didn't even realize that was a thing until too late.
Yeah. So I didn't get to try any of the fun, fancy drinks, but like some of them looked fun and fancy and interesting.
So then they asked to reset for the
Speakeasy party.
Speakeasy part, which basically has been taking out the tables and making it more open space.
Yeah.
I will say that room is good, but they're definitely pushing at the seams for a party because basically everyone is there and it is not that big a room.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. If you can, I think part of the reason it's up there is that it's much easier to ID check going into that room. If you can figure out and they do actually have access to the oven, which I think was useful because they did like canapes and hors d'oeuvres and that kind of stuff. That was quiche. It was nice. But like, if you can find a way to move it downstairs to a bigger room, that might be useful because I do think it was starting to get a bit cramped.
Or if it's possible for like people with the party to just kind of rent the like hotel rooms next door or something like that. So then you could have those rooms also be kind of part of the party.
That wouldn't be a bad idea. But again, like, for the record, we do like this.
We love it. It's just last year we weren't really able to attend, I think, just because we got a little bit overwhelmed. Although we did go for part of it.
We did go for part of it last
year. This year we kind of attempted to, but I think it started later than planned because they cleared the room and then everyone went down to watch Steampunk the fire show.
Yeah.
Which we thought about doing. We kind of walked around the property, but we couldn't figure out where it was. I do want to emphasize it was on a map that we just never looked at.
Yeah.
Like, we just didn't. And that's not because we don't love Steampunk Cena and her fire show. We were just tired. Yeah. We're like, well, we can't find it. Let's just go back upstairs and wait. That makes logic. We were not making good decisions at this point.
We were loitering outside the room and they saw us and they're like, okay, we've finished moving the tables. You can come in.
Yeah. So we did that. And we kind of watched people arrive. By the time people arrived, it was time for Calamity Dawn's panel. So we did have a drink.
Yep.
And a very nice gentleman offered me, because they had both alcoholic drinks and non-alcoholic drinks, but like at this point my stomach was so sick and it has to have very specific food to like appease it at this point.
Yeah. You were just like, no, I can't drink alcohol. Sarsaparilla? And you're like, no.
He went through like 6 or 7 different options at that point.
And eventually he was just like, water?
And I didn't
it's not as cold as it should be, but
And I didn't really want water, but also at that point I felt bad not taking anything, so I'm just like, I'll take water, thank you. We did drink it the next morning. It was useful.
The water got drunk. Like, that's not a problem. But again, like, and again, this is not a criticism in any way.
It was mostly just him being overly hospitable and me being like, I really...
Yeah. But no, so I did, I kind of adore the fact that, like, so they had 2 different cocktails on tap.
Yeah.
Insofar as they just had 2 of those like big fountain jug things that had water throughout the rest of the con. And so you could have either an old fashioned or something that I don't know what it was called because
he kept changing the name.
Yeah, it was so the first time I think he said reactor leak.
Yeah.
Then it was reactor coolant. Then it was a reactor meltdown. Basically, any word that could reasonably follow reactor, it got described as. So but that was some kind of melon thing. Based on the color of it, it definitely had
absinthe.
No, I am trying to remember what the melon liqueur is called, and that's going to bother me.
I'm not going to help you there.
No, that's fair. There's a melon liqueur, which is actually very, very nice, but is kind of a vivid green color. So I'm willing to bet they had some of that in it.
Mm-hmm.
But I just had an old fashioned.
Yeah.
Having an old-fashioned on tap is really dangerous because if you made an old-fashioned correctly, it's so smooth you can just drink it very quickly and not realize how alcoholic it is. They'd made it correctly. I knew what I was doing, and I also knew that I only wanted one, so I was drinking it slowly and carefully. I suspect at least a couple of people drank it quite quickly without necessarily realizing.
Yeah.
That's not a criticism. That means they did it right.
Yep.
Yeah. So again, like, we basically just kind of plugged ourselves on the sofa and waited for other people to arrive. Again, our plan had been to like hang out at this until Calamity Dawn's panel started. Because a lot of people, I think, went to Xena's show, the party itself didn't really get started.
And then Calamity Dawn's panel was then. And I probably could have hung in another 30 minutes if it was just mingling. And I do want to emphasize, I actually do think this is a smart way to do the panels generally, to just have them be kind of during the party a little bit to kind of warm people up during the party.
Yep.
But that effectively meant the party wasn't starting until 11, and I just couldn't last until that long because it would be hard to talk over Calamity, understandably, so you couldn't really like mingle or anything. And then at that point, I'm like, I can't make it till 11. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Which again, I would have liked to stay later at this one.
Yeah, I would have too.
But
Ooh.
But it was very much just a case of we had not got a good night's sleep in days.
Yeah.
And we really needed one.
Yeah. I do want to apologize to, like, I don't know if I need to, but a lot of people at this con, because there were a lot of people at this con I really do adore. I wish I could have spent more time talking to. Like, I wanted to talk more to Asgard and Wheelsworth, and I wanted to talk more to Xena and Calamity and people like that, and other people whose names I can't say because they're not public.
Yep.
But, like, we just did not have the energy to do as much socializing as we would have liked this weekend. And I'm kind of bitter about it, but I will say I still had fun. And, like, if there was a con, it says something that, like, I never once had, like, a breakdown or a crying moment or a meltdown at this con itself. Like, I did in the evenings about other stuff. When I was at this con, I felt so comfortable.
Yeah.
Which is really a mark to how amazing the steampunk community is at making people feel comfortable.
It is. Like, we kind of adore it for that.
Yeah. So we went home and crashed.
Yep.
And I fed my body because it was yelling at me.
Yeah, we went back to the hotel, we crashed. I realized I still had, like, some potato salad in the fridge, and I was actively just, like, eating it out of the tub with a plastic fork.
Yeah. Although I did have to wash off all my goth makeup, which you love it when I do that.
You took another shower. You had the panda, I think, for a little bit, so you, like, got the worst of it off. But, like, you look hot like that, I'm not gonna lie.
Well, you were, like, both, like, you had a drink at the, like, thing. It was just one, so it was fine.
Yeah.
But you are kind of a flirty drunk. And you also, like, have a thing for goth makeup, so...
Yeah, for the record, we were knackered, but, again...
the audience can just do what they want with that.
Yeah, when married, we're allowed to flirt with each other.
Yeah. So we ate, we woke up the next morning, we didn't go see Swans that morning, because I had a panel that I'd forgotten completely about for most of this weekend. I did write it, on Thursday, which was extraordinarily smart of me.
Yeah, it's a very good job you've done that then.
Uh-huh. Like, I didn't have time to work in the steampunk references I wanted to make, so it was more just about, like, morality that occurred during the Victorian time period. And it was at 10 a.m., which I knew was going to be a hard time slot on a Sunday, particularly since we found out that day that the party went to 3 a.m. and they had to kick people out of the room.
Yep.
Which I'm not surprised by.
Neither am I. So, yeah, Sunday at 10 a.m. is not actually a good time slot, but we're going to be brutally honest, we didn't mind.
Yeah.
Like, we submitted the panel at least in part so you didn't have to go to graduation.
Yeah.
But also because, again, it was an interesting topic that you wanted to talk about.
Oh, yeah, I think it also says on the panel description I was supposed to plan a scavenger hunt for people who were hungover, but I forgot to do that.
Yeah.
It was fine. There were two people in the room. They both seemed to have a good time. One person was very sweet and took notes the entire time, which was amazing, and volunteered to go recruit more people from the hallway for me. And I was like, it's okay.
Yeah.
The room did have a projector in the back of it that we did not notice.
No, it didn't.
Okay.
That was the thing the next panelist brought in with them.
Okay.
Because I think they realized the room didn't have a projector and they needed one.
Yes.
So, yeah. So we did have a PowerPoint presentation, which I think you did mention to them when you, like, submitted the panel.
I think I did, but I really don't remember because it was a while ago.
Yeah.
That said, like, I'm a college professor. I'm used to stuff not working. Like, as long as I have access to notes that I can refer to, I can do it.
And yeah, since there were only two people in this panel, we plunked my laptop on the corner of the table, pointed it at the audience at an angle that you could also read it.
Yeah.
And I was just, like, tapping the next button as we went along.
Yeah. But both people seemed to enjoy it, so I was happy.
Yeah. Again, not the biggest audience, but I think they had fun.
Yeah. And if there's only two people, that means I can do that exact presentation again sometimes. Just work in the steampunk references and the scavenger hunt.
Exactly. So, yeah. I think people had fun with it. I should mention we did check out of our hotel before that.
Yeah, we did that.
Which, again, like, painless process.
Yep.
You know, load up the car,
Mm-hmm.
do all that jazz.
Yeah, I thought it went well. Like, somebody taking notes is just kind of awesome. So, yeah, well, it's very nice to have that after having an inattentive audience of students for a little bit. And I did have fun. Like, I was impressed at myself for being able to handle the material as well as I could, given everything else going on.
Yeah.
So.
You did a great job.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, autopilot. I know this backwards and forwards. I don't even have to think about doing this.
Yep. And the person who was taking notes did actually talk to us a little bit later and just, like, comment on how understandable you'd made it.
Mm-hmm. Which is a huge compliment if you work in education.
Yeah. Because, again, like, philosophy is complicated, but it did lead to you just, like, spending the latter half of the panel slagging off Nietzsche.
Yeah. Well, like, Nietzsche's, I tried to give a fair and balanced representation of Nietzsche. It's just he's misunderstood by groups of people that suck a lot.
Yeah. Which, as you say, if it's this easy for groups of terrible people to misunderstand you and use you as an argument, you probably need to phrase it better.
Yep.
Yeah, but you were also talking about a couple of other like Victorian
I
era
picked
philosophers.
Kant, Mill, and Nietzsche. Just kind of go from the beginning of the period to the end of the period. And I talked a little bit about how it impacted culture a little bit to kind of put that in there. I needed to put more steampunk references in there, but I did not have to. Like, philosophy is something I can just do with very little sleep and very little brain.
Yeah.
Because I've trained in it my entire life. Whereas things like steampunk references actually do require a little bit more research, and I just did not have time. But the two people seemed to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I can always polish it more for the future. And it did run about the time, which was nice.
Pretty close. I think we had 2 minutes left for questions at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the next panelist very much wanted to get this stuff set up,
Yeah.
so we kind of like called it there.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we did start a few minutes late because we're like, it is a 10 a.m. panel. We're going to start a few minutes late to give anybody who's turning up time. People didn't, but that's fine.
Yep.
So after that, I think we had a little bit of a lull for a minute, didn't we?
We did. We went around to see if the ceiling was still broken.
Yep.
Which it was. I think we talked to a few people. Yep. And then we went into, because somebody was finishing up a martial arts panel in the main stage area, and then we went in for umbrella dueling.
Yeah. So, the martial arts panel we didn't attend, but the guy who was running it was one of the senior MCs at the con, basically. Yeah. And I've seen his stuff before. It's very good. He knows what he's talking about.
Yep.
My bar tattoo is extremely rusty. But again, this is another one of those. If we'd had the brain space, we might have gone to it just so you could sit in the audience and I could maybe take part. But yeah.
Yeah, we couldn't do as many lecture style panels, especially this year, just because our brains were so fried.
Yeah. Because the problem with the issue with lecture style panels, and the panel we did was a lecture style panel, is
yes.
It's very easy while you're sitting in the audience of a lecture for your brain to wander onto stuff that's distracting it.
Yep. And when you have a lot of stuff distracting it, it's just like...
Yeah.
And I just didn't want that. I wanted the con to be a break, so I needed stuff that was a little bit more stimulating this time. Yeah. Giving a presentation, obviously, your brain stimulated the entire time, so...
Yeah.
So we did umbrella dueling. They did switch it up a little bit this year, I think.
Yes, I think that's because the previous MC is the guy who normally brought the hats.
Yes. So they were hatless.
Yes. So last year when we did it, the rules of umbrella dueling were basically you're attempting to knock the hat off the other person's head, and it's a fairly unstable top hat. This year they were just doing touch rules. Yep. So a touch was 1 point. You were playing to 3 points. Nice and straightforward and simple. The number of people who were doing it this year who clearly have at least some fencing experience was all of us.
Yeah, that was one of the things. Is they only had 5 participants, and I do think, in part, because people see people with fencing experience do this, it might be good to now split this into divisions. The division of people with fencing experience and the idiot division for people who just don't have any knowledge whatsoever,
or who turn up wearing a giant ball gown. Because today you went back to ball gown number 1.
I did, because I wore the other ball gown last night. So I'm like, let's wear ball gown number 1. I was only in it for a couple hours on Friday anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So again, that was fun. I enjoyed it. I did get knocked out round 1.
Yep.
But I lost to a lefty, which fencing lefties is weird.
Yeah, I remember you guys paired up last year too.
Yeah. Again, umbrella dueling is fun. It's light. It's silly. It's everybody understands what they're doing. There was a lot of good honor. A lot of people declaring when they were hit, even if the judge missed it.
Well, I think you started that because you were hit first, and you just tapped your wrist to say that you were hit.
Yeah, which again, that's the thing. If you do any kind of fencing tournament, or HEMA tournament, that is a standard. They got me there. If the judge doesn't immediately call it, because again, with a lot of those, you normally have a fencing mask in the way, so it can be hard to hear you sometimes.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of specific signals that we all know. One of which is if you see a hand held up in a stop gesture, that means safety issue, stop immediately.
Yep.
So that's usually some piece of safety equipment has come loose, like a mask is not on properly anymore. So that kind of stuff. With umbrella dueling, you don't really need to worry about that. Because the umbrellas in question are basically umbrella covers. So the cover that you put over an umbrella, over a pool noodle, over a bit of PVC pipe that's been set to be vaguely umbrella shaped. It works great.
It does.
And yes, you can technically hurt somebody with it, but provided you're not being a complete idiot, you're not going to. So this was a lot of fun. Again, ran a little bit short just because, again, there was only 5 of us who were competing.
Yeah, I do think they should, after the official tournament, if there's time left, to allow exhibition matches, which is basically just where you're allowed to challenge anyone in the room that you want to, just for fun. Because there might be some people who are willing to compete at that level who don't really want to do bracket-style tournament. Like, I would have fought you in that style of fight. You would have won, but like...
Which is what we did last year.
Yeah. But, like, I know that you were somebody who would be careful with my dress and stuff like that, so I would feel fine, like, facing off against you and basically just talking trash as you, like, you know, beat me.
Yep.
In a sense with a LARP, not in a literal sense.
Again, concerning statements from my wife there, ladies and gentlemen, but, again, it's fun, it's silly. Like, you and I have umbrella dueled in the past.
Would it have been better if I'd said beat me with a bat, because that's technically what it is.
God damn it. Anywho. But yeah. So, again, this was fun. I enjoyed it. Very light, very fluffy, very silly. A few more matches would have been nice, because, again, I think this only took like 20, 25 minutes tops. So, yeah, maybe some exhibition matches at the end would have been good. That ran... So, there was a break at that point, purely because, again, it ran a little bit short. And then it transitioned straight to Nerf dueling after that.
Yep.
And Nerf dueling is also a hoot. That's a very common thing in Steampunk cons. So do you want to talk a little bit more about this?
Yeah, Nerf dueling is basically what it sounds like. You have Nerf guns. They've been steampunkified. This is actually a surprisingly common thing, is people will buy Nerf guns and then make them look like steampunk weapons. And they're Nerf, if you're somehow under a rock and don't know what Nerf is, they fire foam bullets that can't possibly hurt anyone, because they're designed to be toys for children.
Like, technically, if you get hit in an eye, it might do some damage, but
other than that,
you've got to get pretty unlucky, because they're not firing fast enough to do any real harm.
Like, there were multiple times when I watched this where I think people got hit and just no one noticed a couple times.
Yep.
Because
I didn't
you can't even feel it.
Here's the thing. I didn't really feel the hit that took me out of this competition. That was a hit to the crotch, and I didn't really notice it. So, you know, that's about how dangerous Nerf guns are.
Yeah. And they have, the other thing I like is they have several different versions of them. They have, like, ones that you have to cock and things like that, and they have ones that you can just fire, which tend to be the more popular ones. And there is one couple, and I remember them from last year, too, who brings their own Nerf guns to this. They also steampunkified. Yeah,
they had, like, 10-shot Nerf guns, and the host was like, you can use that, but you're limited to 6 rounds. And they were like, okay, hang on. So they had to take them out, then figure out where they needed to go in the barrel to make sure that they were the next 6 rounds that were going to be getting fired. So again, like, everybody gets involved in this. It's a lot of fun. They basically just had a sign-up sheet that was just a bracket. And one thing I really liked that he did this year was he basically said, okay, do we have any couples who specifically want to face off against each other?
Yep.
We basically said, here. He said, okay, you two come up first. We'll put you in this bracket, specifically so you're up against each other together.
Yep.
And there was a couple of other couples who did the exact same thing, because that's just fun.
It is. It means that you can have, like, because trash talking is, like, kind of a mandatory part of it, where you, like, trash talk the people. Like, generally people just say, like, one-liners generally, but if you're with your spouse, you can be real specific and fun, which is very fun. So we got some ooze for us.
Yeah, because you were mocking me about the house we're buying.
And somebody recommended a Best Trash Talking Award in addition to the Sharpest Shooter Award. I maintain we should add that, like, generally.
That could be fun.
Yes.
Because, again, they did have quite a few prizes for this, which I appreciated.
Yeah. Like, all of these, like, very silly competitions have very fun prizes associated with them, so.
Yep.
So, yeah, this was a full bracket. Like, the room was completely full for this. It took pretty much the entire hour, and it was a blast.
It was great.
Like, we faced up first. You hit me, which I expected, because I didn't want to go to the second round.
And you were in a giant ball gown.
Yeah.
Like, to be fair,
you hit me in the chest.
Yeah,
like, that was the smallest part of my body. Like, it was pretty close to my boob, actually. Nice, honey. But I got to trash talk you, which is the only thing I really wanted to do.
Yes. And,
somebody complimented my costumes as I came up, too, which was very sweet.
Yeah. And one of the comments is, like, try not to aim for the face, but, like, if you get hit in the head, don't worry too much about it. Like, again, they're Nerf guns, they're not that accurate.
Yeah.
If you run out of ammunition, pick up the bullets that were just fired at you, reload your gun before the other guy does, and keep shooting until we have a winner. So yeah, that was fun. Like, There were a couple of really close ones where people got hit like milliseconds after each other, and those were some close calls, but it was a lot of fun. I think I made it through 2 rounds and then got eliminated on the 3rd.
Yeah, there was a bit of a weird thing where they had like people from the first round who did doubles face off against people who were singles. So we were like 2.5 rounds, I think. It's fine. Like it was actually a really well thought out tournament in terms of stuff. So
yeah, it worked. I have no complaints.
And the final round, it came to like a very like weird shootout, so it was very fun.
It was.
And I think occasionally people got hit and no one noticed, but that's fine. Who cares?
Again, it's fun. It's silly. Like, yeah.
Yep. And it's not that anyone's lying. It's just the bullets are so light, no one can feel it.
Yeah.
So.
Especially if you've got a costume with any degree of padding.
Yeah.
Like as I say, I was eliminated with a hit to the crotch, and I barely noticed it.
Yep.
In fact, technically, so the thing is, I did feel it hit my leg, which I think was it hit me in the crotch and then bounced off onto my leg, and I felt the leg hit, not the crotch hit. Which did give you the opportunity to make jokes about, my crotch. So,
yeah, well, obviously. Like, there was a lot of innuendo in this one, which was also great. It was done perfectly, for which there weren't a lot of people who were like, I don't think there was anyone who was young enough in the audience to not get it, but if they were, it would have gone over their heads.
Yeah.
But it was still very, very funny.
Yeah. So again, fun, light, silly, very enjoyable. Like, this event was a hoot. I'm glad it.
I love all the silly little games that this con does. And then we went out for another one, which was teapot racing.
Yes. So one of the things that they did this year, which I think
and last year, they definitely did it last year because they had a record number of entries last year, which is why they pushed closing ceremonies back this year.
Yep.
Because I heard them talking about it.
Yep. So they did a make your own steampunk teapot racer. When we say teapot racer, what we basically mean is an RC car with a teapot strapped to it, which is it's a really fun concept.
Yep.
Like, and you get bonus points, like you zhuzh it up, you make it look really cool and all of that stuff.
Sorry, I've thought of like 2 now ridiculous teapot concepts because all of them have very cool concepts behind them. So I thought of Useless, the chocolate teapot. And right now I just thought of Compensating for something for which it's just an RC car with a tiny microscopic teapot on it.
Yeah. Pretty good. Yeah, like okay, so I'm going to tell you something, which is when one of my friends, when we first got the internet in my school, when I was like, I don't know, 12, 13, somewhere in that ballpark, one of my friends did the thing you do when you suddenly have access to Google. At that point, I think it was Ask Jeeves, which was like run, or which was Google Google their friends' names. And so they Googled my name, and they found out there's a famous teapot designer who shares a name with me, and their teapots are all weird.
Yep, they're very weird.
Yeah.
There's one that's like the Queen's face.
At some point, I want to acquire one of those teapots and turn it into a teapot racer.
Yep.
Because that sounds awesome to me.
Yeah, it is worth noting that most of the teapots aren't like real teapots that have ever been used. They're like foam and things like that. But having a real teapot, I think, would score you point. Well, some of them are.
A lot of them are metal.
That's fair. Steampunkers do love metal.
Yep. So yeah. So they did do a crafting thing. That was a sign up in advance, pay $45. Because again, materials on that one ain't cheap. You've got to buy a bunch of RC cars. But that was,
But I think it's good to have, because not many people are going to prepare for this in advance. So having that workshop allows everyone to kind of build their own racer generally.
Yeah, if they want to.
Yeah, I think it was less popular this year than it was last year for whatever reason. I think mostly because you had to sign up in advance.
I suspect so. But yeah, so they had, I think they said 4 teapots made there. And then at the actual teapot race, which is one of the last events on Sunday, you race your teapots against each other. Now, the race is done as a time trial style rather than like everybody trying to race their teapots against each other. Yeah. Which would be really fun and cool.
And they have a cute little home built obstacle course that has like divots in it and things you go over, which is very, very fun a lot of the time.
At the turn of doom.
Yes. And the judging is very involved because they're judging on both your like style, because they have points for like, creative use of like the cars and what you've made generally. Yep. And they have points for how fast you do the race. And they have points for things like bribing the judges.
Yep, you get judged on the quality of your bribe to the judges.
Yes. And you get points if you offend the judges, or deductions if you defend the judges in some way.
Yep. Yeah, which is great. If you incur the judge's displeasure.
Yeah, which you could do just because it's fun, because it's not that serious.
Exactly. So yeah. So they had, I think, 4 entrants this
Yep.
year, and they actually had 8 different like prizes and awards to give out.
Yep.
So they ended up giving 2 prizes to everybody,
Mhm.
which good on you.
Yes.
There are so many events that would have just said, we've only got 4 participants, we're only going to give out 4 prizes at most, or like, even worse would be, well, we've only got 4 prizes, we'll only give out the first place award, which
Yeah.
I've seen some events do.
Ugh, that sucks. They
Yeah.
just give away everything and made everyone feel happy for participating. And
Yep.
I love this event because I found out that there was this couple here that was their first time attending the Steampunk Con, and they just did everything, which respect.
Awesome.
That couple is just us, like
Yep.
2 years ago. Except cooler, obviously. And they made a teapot and did it. They had, I think our favorite was the Curiosity.
Yep.
Which was a Mars rover themed teapot.
Yep.
Which was just awesome.
That was great.
Yeah. And we were watching them just fool around with their teapot the entire time.
Yeah, the audience was having a blast with
Yeah.
it. The interesting thing is they do this in the atrium,
Mm-hmm.
which does have the downside of there's not a lot of seating.
Yeah.
A couple of people were like bringing chairs out for people who really needed them. Like I went and grabbed you one.
Yeah, we never did put that chair back. We probably should have.
That's fine.
But we did ask before we took it. So,
Yeah.
multiple people do it because, again, there's a lot of accessibility issues. Other people will just kind of stand around it. But I think it's just because it's easier for the RC
Setup.
cars to kind of go over and things like that.
Yeah, I think at least in part it's the RC cars just stick better on the carpet.
Mm.
So it ends up working out better for them.
Yeah. I will point out that I did prefer this event this year for one, mild reason, which we didn't mention, but we did. If you remember our episode from last year, you might say at a different time of year.
Mm-hmm.
That's because the con took place in March last year, and this year it's taking place in May, which I think was closer to the time it took place the year previously.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty typical of a new con. They're just trying to find their sweet spot in a time that the hotel's free, which is understandable. I will say for teapot racing in particular, this was a little bit nicer, though, because it did mean that it wasn't freezing in the atrium every time the door opened.
Yeah.
Because it is right by the door. But it's, nice outside right now, finally.
Yeah, it's 70 degrees at the moment. So.
Which means that,
we could actually, observe this without, you having to steal my coat constantly because you were cold.
Yeah, it was just wrapped in blankets last year. But I do hope they can get more teapots next year. I think they're still kind of finding their sweet spot in how to run the event. Because the first year they did it, they only had 2 entrants.
Yeah.
Last year they had a bunch of entrants, which was really cool, but it did run long. This year they had 4 entrants, and it didn't quite go to time.
Yeah. Which did mean that there was then because here's the thing. Officially this ran 2 till 3.
Yep.
Closing wasn't until 4. And I did hear them basically admit that the reason for that is last year the teapot race overran.
Yeah.
Quite badly, so they had to delay closing ceremonies, and this year they just planned for it to overrun again.
But they didn't get as many entries this year, which I do get is hard to predict. If you got that many people and was that popular last year, why wouldn't it be this year?
Yeah.
But honestly, I would just put closing ceremonies at 3 parentheses whenever the teapot races end.
Yep.
And that way you can just cover both worlds. Because I honestly don't mind it being a little bit later generally.
Yeah. Again, just saying at 3 p.m. brackets. Maybe delayed due to teapot racing. I don't think many people would object.
Yep. And then just put an announcement out on social media if that happens.
Yeah.
Because we did kind of awkwardly wait for an hour after that closing.
Yeah, we took the opportunity to get you changed.
I was impressed with myself.
Yeah, it took you a lot less time than I thought it was going to.
It took me 2 seconds, and I kept my wig on the entire time.
Yep. I think it helped that I loosened the ribbon enough. But yeah. So yeah, basically just I unzipped you, then you went into the bathroom, and just...
Nice. We're at 69 again.
Nice. It's a different exit 69, we haven't just gone in a weird circle.
No, we only do that when we're close to home for podcast episodes.
Yeah. Actually, that will be... Anyway, we'll talk about that one later.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so... This was a lot of fun. Teapot racing is always a hoot. Again, just because of that, there was a bit of a delay before closing ceremonies. We debated leaving, because again, we've got a lot on our minds at the moment. We do kind of want to get home, see the pets, because
all that jazz.
Yeah, we need to sit the pets down and tell them the news.
Yep.
It's a very important, serious conversation to have with our pets.
Yep. Did we review closing at all, or we just?
We need to talk about that. Yeah. But yeah, so as I say, we contemplated leaving at that point, but we decided. No, we'll stay for closing.
Well, it's mostly just we skipped out on a lot of this con due to turmoil, and I just wanted to stay till closing anyway. Just for, I really do love this con, and I just wanted to cheer for everyone one last time, and it was cute. They had a little raffle, which was cute. They also had an auction for a couple various items. They did have a silent auction earlier that was to benefit a charity that sounds super cool.
Yep.
Also, if I can find the name to put in the show notes.
Yeah, I've forgotten it, unfortunately.
But they seem to do good work about like anti-discrimination stuff, which is good.
Yep.
And very much needed at this time period.
Yeah.
It was a little bit unclear to me if like the items they were auctioning off in the closing ceremonies were going to the charity or if they were going to the con. I think they were going to the charity. They said that a little bit later.
Yeah, the bike definitely went to the... actually, we should probably talk about the specific things they auctioned off.
Yes.
Yeah. One of the things definitely was going to the charity.
I think the other one was too.
The
If
other
it was going to the con, also fine. Like,
Yeah.
I want you guys to continue to exist because you're awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, based on what they said, I think that first one was going to the con and the second one was going to the charity. But anyway, so either way, so closing ceremony, they gave us tickets, raffle tickets.
Yep.
Which is nice because they were going to be raffling off a couple of things.
Yeah, these were just, I think, random miscellaneous things that they had didn't quite sell. Like, they had some pens for the con, and they had some glasses.
Yep. Which were cute.
Yeah, they raffled these off. We didn't win anything, but that's fine. You can't win them all.
Yep. And then they also auctioned off a couple of things. So they auctioned off a something made by the same guy who made the hobby horses because he likes woodworking.
Mm-hmm.
He'd taken an old, I'm assuming bourbon barrel.
Yep.
Lid and like hand carved it with the logo for this particular year's con, which was like a horse with a gear around it. It's really cool. Yeah, that went for a decent chunk of change.
And it was fun watching Calamity battle the Three Generations family for that.
Yeah. It was, because at one point it was like, okay, it's going to Calamity. Oh, no, they swooped in at the last second.
Well, they can combine incomes there.
Yep. But yeah. So yeah, that was cute.
Mm-hmm.
They auctioned or they did the raffle for the various things, and then they brought in a bike.
Yep.
Specifically an electric bicycle
mm-hmm.
that apparently the con owner or the con chair or whatever his official title is originally bought to ride up and down the beaches of Florida.
Yep.
And then, like 2 months after he bought it, they changed the law and he wasn't allowed to do that.
And yeah, fun fact for at least certain members of the steampunk community, you can pretty much hand them anything and say steampunk this,
Yep.
and they can do it.
Yep. So yeah, he basically donated this bike, and one of the people involved in the con has spent the entire weekend just working on it and steampunking it and making it look really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So they auctioned that off. Again, proceeds going to the charity.
Yep.
It went for like over $500,
which is probably still a steal. 11 looks at the price of electric bikes. Like, it did seem fun. It's just it got up to 44 miles an hour, he said, and that seems terrifying. I do not want that in my life.
Yeah, I don't need to be going 45 miles an hour on an electric bicycle.
But they also arranged with the hotel to keep it there, because if you didn't have like the ability to take it home, which I imagine most people wouldn't, because they weren't planning to take home a bike, you could pick it up later, which is awesome.
Up to 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Which is like that's actually quite a good idea.
Yeah.
Based on part of the conversation I overheard, I don't think the person who bought it ended up needing that because I think they said they had a van.
Yep. Which
they reckoned it would fit in fine.
It was cool that they offered that because it would rule out a lot of people if they couldn't take it home then.
Yeah.
That brought a lot. Like, even like, not that we really wanted it because for us it seems like a safety hazard with everything else going on.
Yeah.
But like, if we really did want it, we could always make a trip back down sometime to claim it.
Yeah. Again, similar to the way AdamCon did its charity raffle, where if you won something at the charity raffle but couldn't claim it then, like they had an arrangement with a game store in town where they would, you could go and pick that stuff up. Like, again, having the ability to get the stuff later is super useful, especially if the items are weird and big and bulky.
Yeah. And yeah, they also did a closing toast to kind of mirror the opening toast, and they thanked everyone, the volunteers, the people. They called out specific people. They said the winners of each contest, and they stood up. It was very, very cute, and it's just kind of fun to be in a room with all these people that you just kind of adore.
Yeah. Like, again, it's a very, very wholesome vibes con. Is the best way to describe it. Like, everybody loves being there. Everybody loves the other people who are there, and that's one of the things we love about Steampunk. Is the community is just so goddamn good. Like, you can do the weird thing at at a Steampunk con, and everybody are like, "Cool, the weird thing." It doesn't even matter what your specific weird thing is.
Yeah.
Like writers, artists, like performers.
Yeah, it's just there's so much creativity in steampunk. It's of all the cons we go to, it's probably the thing we're most the fan of, and it's because of the people.
Yeah. Like again, furries have very much the same energy insofar as they're celebrating each other rather than a specific fandom. But yeah, steampunk just kind of resonates with us personally a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like I adore the furries. Don't get me wrong, but like I just wish there were more steampunk cons. That's the thing. Like we come away from. There are some cons we come away from, like anime cons. I come away from one. I'm like, that was fine. Like, I'll do another one of those, when it crops up. Steampunk cons are one of the few cons I come away from where I'm like, I want to do another steampunk con.
I mean, I feel that with every con.
Yeah, I know.
Which is what drives us. But like steampunk cons are just like, at the beginning of this, one of the things I was just like trying to do is we were trying to save money with everything else going on. Right? I'm like, maybe we won't do Key City this year, just because I don't know if we can budget it. I'm like, no, we have to do Key City this year. I can't not. Yeah. I'm gonna miss it too much if we don't. I wish we could do Chicago Steampunk Expo, but we can't.
It's the weekend before Origins. We're already heavily committed to Origins,
and yeah, it's just not feasible to be in Chicago back the week before. It's just not.
It's not.
Even if we did want to move that much money around, it's just not smart. But I'm hoping we can go to that one year. I really want to go to TeslaCon, and I hope this con is going to continue to thrive because I adore it so much.
Yeah. So at that point, closing was done. We basically just immediately got on the road
and started recording this.
Yep.
And now we're here.
Yeah, had a quick caffeine hit and then got on the and then started recording. So that was what we did at Bourbon City.
Mm-hmm. We'll talk about things we didn't do. There's a lot of siren performances. That's cool.
Yep.
We didn't do the fire show.
Yep.
There was again martial arts training.
Yep.
There were some informative panels.
A lot of lecture style panels at this one, which again, like we've done in the past, and they are good lecture style panels. It's we did not have like the. It's less the brain space, more the mental focus this weekend. Because like if we'd been in a lecture style panel, we would have been thinking about the other stuff.
Yeah. Leanne was doing a lot of her panels. We've done her stuff before, and it's great.
Yep. Right, a lot of talking about like either Gothic literature or ghost stories.
Yep.
All of that kind of stuff.
She's a great presenter.
Yep.
They did a Moms and Mimosas thing for Mother's Day, which was basically an excuse to drink mimosas. They had a VIP hour in the Lovecraft room.
The room upstairs.
Yes, which is for the VIPs. And then they had a general hour where just anyone could come, which is great. They had a maid cafe this year. That was new.
Yeah. I couldn't tell if the maid cafe was running the tea room or if they were separate things that were kind of next to each other.
Yeah, we didn't really go up there and look, generally.
Yeah.
They had a panel called How to Win a Mermaid Competition, which I kind of wish we had gone to. Not because I have any interest, but I just want to know what a mermaid competition entails.
Yeah. Entails.
Hey!
That's the first time in this podcast I managed to do that to you, not the other way around.
Several sip and stroke panels. They had several world building and writing panels.
Okay. Pause and go back and explain what a sip and stroke panel is, please, because otherwise it sounds weird.
It's where you drink wine and paint things. I thought it was kind of intuitive.
It's really not, honey.
Okay. Maybe my mind's just less dirty than yours. Panel on publishing. Building an airship, which they did, because they also had airships and boat competitions, but we didn't enter either of those.
Yeah, by the sound of it, the boat competition had somebody's boat get partway down and then just full on Titanic.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
They had tango lessons, which was cool, and they had some concerts as well.
Yeah.
So, and as always with those, I don't name everything, because it would be quite boring for me to read a list of literally everything. There's a schedule if people want to look at it.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, we've kind of reached the point, actually, top con moments.
Did you forget top con moments?
I nearly forgot top con
It's your turn to go first this year.
This is fair.
Or this time.
I'm going to go with just, sitting and relaxing at the end of a very difficult day with an old-fashioned in a room full of steampunks. I wish we'd been able to stay later on Saturday
I'm sorry,
night.
I feel like that was on me.
Okay, here's the thing. I'm usually the one who's, kind of pushing us to go back to the Airbnb. Mm-hmm. But, you were right. Our brains were fried.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I would have liked to stay later, but at the same time, we made the right decision by leaving when we did.
Yeah.
I needed a good night's sleep as well.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I very much enjoyed that. That was just nice.
One of mine would be the hobby horse painting and racing. It was just kind of what we needed to kind of get crafty because being creative honestly also helps a lot with jitters and everything. It was just kind of fun to just focus on something stupid for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I had a blast with that.
Yeah. I'm probably going to go the Earl Grey race as my next one because that was just good, dumb fun. Like racing while holding a tea tray is actually quite. Here's the thing: I might like suggest this to more steampunk events because it's easy to do, easy to set up, but it's light and fun, and like everybody was having a blast.
I'm honestly gonna pick. We did have a conversation with the like 86-year-old grandma for a bit. That's how I know she's 86, by the way.
Yeah.
And I honestly really just enjoyed that. That's awesome. Like they are awesome, and their family is awesome. I enjoyed getting to talk to them.
That's very fair. Oh yeah, Umbrella Dueling. I love Umbrella Dueling. Like, again, would have liked a few more participants, but I had a lot of fun.
I will pick Nerf Dueling then, because that was excellent and fun. Yeah. So, would we go back on an entirely subjective rating system that is based on how far it is from our house? And that's about to change, although not in any way that matters.
Yeah. Again, we were crunching the numbers. We think we're going to add about 2 seconds to our drive to work.
Well, it's going to add about 2 seconds to our drive everywhere, because it is just further down a dead-end street.
This is true. By like a whole house.
Yep.
Those man hours are going to add up.
I know.
But yeah. So, the thing is, the driveway's shorter, so it'll actually take us less time, but there's also a garage, which we'll need to get out of, and that'll take a minute.
We're passing a car that says, that license plate, which I probably shouldn't say, looks like they might have just been at the con, because it's a mermaid-related license plate.
It is. Like, there's an odds or a chance that, yeah, anyway.
So if you do have a license plate that is mermaid themed, I'm not going to say just for the interest of privacy, and you happen to be driving, let us know in the comments. And
it's a license plate from Florida, interestingly.
Yeah.
So, who knows?
Who knows?
But yeah, so, yeah, as we always say, our rating system is entirely subjective to us, but should give you a vibe of how much we enjoyed the con. Because if it's a con that's 4 hours away, requires an overnight stay, requires us spending money on hotels, all of that jazz, and we say this is a hard yes, then it was a good con.
Yep.
This is a hard yes.
Yep.
We will be back next year.
I'm already annoyed we couldn't enjoy it as much as we wanted.
Yeah. Like, barring anything weird coming up between then and now, between now and then, like, unless it's on a really bad weekend for us, we'll be back next year.
Hell yeah.
I love this con.
I adore this kind of bits.
Like, I love the people, I love the vibes. It's so good.
It's so good. I love it so much. Like, it's the closest steampunk con to us that's an official con. Like, and it's just so good. Like, the location works for it. The people are great. I love everything that they're doing. I hope they can continue to grow and bring in new people. And, like, it's so good.
So, yeah.
And thank you guys. Like,
we needed this.
We needed this weekend. Like, I'm sorry we couldn't be more present. We were trying to be. We adore all of you, like each and every one.
Yeah.
I'm literally crying. I might be kind of emotional.
Yep. We're a bit overwrought, but, it's fine.
So for next week, we're supposed to go to Lexicon. Given everything else that's happening, I don't know if that's happening.
Yeah, we're still... We don't yet know if we will actually go to Lexicon next week.
I mean, if we're going, it's mostly going to be out of guilt, to be honest.
Yeah, because we had scheduled... Lexicon, if you're not familiar, is a board gaming con.
Yeah. We
had scheduled to run events at it. Of the events we scheduled to run, at the moment, only one of them actually has enough people to run. And it's on Friday, and I don't know.
Yep.
Is the honest answer. Like, if it was 2 hours away, I'd say yes. It's a 4-hour drive, and I don't know if we want to, like, do 8 hours in the car on Friday, and do it as a back and forth, or, yeah. So, yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, next week, based on next week's episode title, you'll be able to tell whether or not we decided to do it or not.
Yeah. Or if you just want a full house, we're not going to do that. We don't need a full house Buying Saga episode. I really worry it does seem like we're bragging. We really don't intend to.
We're really not. We're just... Wait, here's the thing. Last week's episode, we had no idea we were going to be doing it this week.
I think that's the part that everyone's a little bit confused about, because we did tell a few people at the con. I don't know if they fully realized, like, we literally had no idea we were doing this on Sunday, at all.
Like, again, the sign went up on Monday. That's we heard from a friend of ours that the guy was thinking about selling his house.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know he was anywhere close to actually doing it.
Yeah. And we didn't know that we were going to buy it that day. Like, that was a decision we literally made then, which I know seems impulsive, but it's not if you know the area and the location. We have been looking for a couple years,
Yeah.
so.
Like, we knew we wanted a place around that. Like, I think it was like Tuesday or Wednesday, we did discuss that if we liked it, we knew we would have to jump on it and jump on it fast, so, yeah.
Yeah, but it is something for which that's obviously very, like, mentally a taxing thing to do, especially if you weren't planning on doing it, because I assume most people, like, do multiple visits and, like, prepare and think about it and talk about it, whereas we're just like, no, we have to do this now.
Yeah. If we want it, we have to jump on it.
Yep.
Like, there were, like, I think there'd been at least 4 or 5 showings before us.
Keep in mind, it's been up in 2 days, and we're in a town of 1,000 people, so that is a lot of showings.
There was more scheduled for Friday. There were even more scheduled for Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we knew that house was going to be gone by the time we got home from this con.
Yep.
So we had to make a decision then and there.
Yep, we did.
It feels like the right decision. It's just also, like, emotionally overwhelming.
When we got the notification, I think we both felt relief is our primary emotion, and then, oh God, is our second primary emotion.
Which is valid.
I think our first emotion was annoyance. It happened when we were trying to, like, negotiate through, like, a Wendy's bathroom, but, you know.
So, yeah.
It's, thank you for listening, if you're listening this far, to that kind of saga, and the reason why it's so anxiety-provoking is that it will probably continue to be. We've been told by people who buy houses it's one of the most stressful things you're going to do in your life. I 100% believe that.
Yep. Oh, yeah. It involves a lot of money.
It involves a lot of money. It's a very big financial decision. Something probably will go wrong at some point during either this process or immediately after it, because anytime you buy something new, something pretty much always immediately breaks. Yep. So, got to prepare for that too.
So, yeah. So, ultimately, yeah. We bought our house, guys.
We did.
But
at least it's... people have asked us about, like, the uncertainties. I've looked it up. It's about a 5% likelihood at this point that we... according to real estate statistics, that it falls through somehow. A lot of those scenarios don't apply to what our specific scenario, though.
Yeah.
Like, there is a small chance we wouldn't be able to secure financing, and there is a small chance that something could go wrong with the inspection. Those are pretty much the 2 outs we have right now.
Yep.
But it's just, given that the offer has been accepted, like, it's impossible to stop our brains from planning and moving forward, because if we do restrain it, it's just going to be even more unhealthy for us. Mm-hmm. So we're just going as though we know, even though it's not 100% certain. So
it's about as certain as it can be at this stage, basically. So yeah, that was this weekend.
Yep.
Next weekend, who the hell knows?
Also, can we talk about how, because keep in mind, this is the house next door to us, and I knew when we were driving back, although I didn't think I fully contemplated until just now, the 2 options where we were looking at that house and hating it because, like, we didn't get it, or that we were looking at that house and staring at it like it's
about to be ours.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we're going to have one of those 2 experiences in
about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you for anyone who listens to this now. And we will try to keep the episodes con-focused. Like, we really will. It's just, for this one, because of how much it impacted our con.
Yeah.
Like, although if you want an episode that's entirely about escrow.
No. Even I don't want that.
Why would you want that?
I don't know. Therapy. So, yeah. Ultimately, thank you, guys.
Thank you. And if you're a long-time listener, thank you, too.
Yeah. Like, we needed... We needed a con like this weekend.
Yeah.
The timing on it ended up being kind of perfect.
Yeah, I can't imagine if this was, like, colossal or something.
So, yeah, like, thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
We needed to, like, this was the right con for this weekend. We're sorry we were kind of out of it. We're sorry that, like, we didn't manage to stay for the late night stuff in the way we had wanted to and planned to.
Mm-hmm.
But, thank you.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
We'll see you next week for something, and then we'll definitely see you the week after that for Intro Ohio.
Yes. Is that Intro Ohio?
Yes.
Okay.
And if you are wondering, I don't foresee us purchasing a house impacting our summer con schedule if you're a spreadsheet follower that much. It might change a little bit about what we're going to do in August, but because of how the move-in stuff works, I think we should have plenty of time and shouldn't have to take weekends off to do it.
We shouldn't do.
Especially since we've got the convenient weekend in sometime that's a little bit more open, I think, in July. We'll figure something out.
We'll figure it out. So, yeah. So, at this point, I think we just need to say thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you in whatever the hell next week's episode is.
Bye.
Bye.